We've got chill here. We've got chill here. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Let's see. Let's see. Awesome. Chill. My man. Wow. Welcome, brother.
Brother, I'm bringing some creators here because you are top G and we love you and we want to support you and I'm glad to be here with you. So let's see if we can get more people here and yeah, I'm glad to finally be on the stage, man.
Love this, man. Love this. Chill. True honor to have you, my friend. I've also seen Sydney here. I'm scrolling through. We've got Mikey here. Let's see who else we got. We've got Alan, my friend. What a day. What a day. This is awesome. Chill. My friend, first of all, so happy that you're feeling better. You've had a rough couple of days, and it sounds like you had some pretty awesome treatment there as well to help get you through. How you feeling now, man?
Man, look, I'm feeling amazing. I don't even know how this is possible because yesterday I thought I was dying before, the nurse came and visited me. But then she said, look, I'm not just going to give you treatment right now. I have to come back like for 3 days and get you back on your feet properly. So this morning I woke up for the first time and I had like vitamins and all of that thing like straight into my bloodstream, right? So I felt amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is like the first time I get this kind of feeling. And she was like, don't get used to this. It's not healthy long term. So I'm feeling amazing, man. I cannot believe it's, the body recovers so fast if you get, vitamins and everything else just straight into your bloodstream.
Totally, man. Totally. I'm going to go on a quick nursing tangent here just to kind of add some context to this scenario here. I don't know. It fascinates me. If it doesn't to anyone else, then let me know. I'll stop right away. But food poisoning, it sounds like that's what you had at Chill. That was your ailment. Got you. Yeah, it's crazy how severe and how serious that can actually be. You're literally just eliminating everything from your body. And as soon as you start losing all those vitamins, all those electrolytes, you go downhill very, very quickly. And it's amazing how by just replenishing those, you regain that balance like super, super quickly, and you're back on your feet and you're good to go. So if you can keep that balance and ride out the shittiness, pun fully intended, of food poisoning, then yeah, you're good to go, man. But hey, so happy that you're feeling better and so happy that you're here with us today, man. Quantic, I want to, before I go on too many monologues here, I want to send the mic back to you and maybe we can set the room and get things going. Actually, before I do that, here, real quick, Buddies, my man, welcome as well to the stage. So awesome to have you, man.
It's awesome to hop on with you, homie. Yeah, it's Esper here on the Buddies account. I'm actually driving around right now. I just came from college, so I just was like, I'm gonna just hop on, pull up, hang out, vibe. I'm smoking a blunt right now. Great times. Yeah, dude, it's great to be here, man.
Feeling it, and I love it. Just to add a little bit more context, Esper and I, we've been hanging out, since like, I think we were hanging out before I even started the path of like really trying to push it here on crypto Twitter. So like we go way back, man. So it's awesome to have you back here and awesome to be able to connect. Looking forward to digging into some of these conversations with you, man.
Yeah, man, it's a blast. No, it's true. You're like OG, like homie. Like you seem like back from when like the TEDx scholars like first started and all the pivots and shit like that. And it's cool to just pull up and hang out with the homies.
Absolutely, man. Hey, well, it's a true honor. So let's get things going today. Quantic, I'm gonna send the mic back to you, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So happy to see Chill Pill and Buddies with us today. Chill, I hope that you're getting better. Man, how much passion do you have for this space that you are all the time there in Twitter, even when you're with food poisoning, man? I really admire your passion for the space, and I really have respect for that. But anyway, today's space is about hosting spaces. So I guess that you guys are going to give you a lot of alpha because you have a lot of experience. But first, I think that we should start with a short TA by the Vic Travis. My man, please go on.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, I'm. So just so that everyone knows, I do see some new faces here, as with many old friends and legends here. The way we like to kind of run our show, Web3 Matters, is we start off by doing a quick 10-15 minute overview of the main cryptos in the market, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what's been going on, and then kind of some expectations that we're going to be looking at in the near future. And then we dig right into our topic. So today our topic, like Quantix says, is hosting spaces. And we have got some awesome legends here to help share some alpha with that I'm here personally looking forward to learning from. We've also have Sansa. He's wrapping up his current spaces right now. He'll be here in about 20 minutes. So we're all looking forward to that as well. So without further ado, because I want to get to you guys, I'm going to dig into these charts here real quick. I've posted all of them here on the top of the space. So they're all on the Jumbotron right now. So let's start with Bitcoin. So, excuse me, guys, while I just pull this up here myself, I am certainly multitasking has always been a challenge of mine, and chatting and dealing with computers that's freezing. Hold up. I can do this. I got this.
Don't worry, man. That's what
I sometimes try to do a couple of things at the same time, and I drop shit and I spill stuff and I destroy a couple of phones this way. So be careful, Trav.
Thanks, man. Right? You get it. It is dangerous and things can break. I feel that. And you know what? I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you do. I know you can relate to this, Chill, but my people like my wife, they can literally do 8 things at the same time. Blows my mind. I have no idea how that's even humanly possible. It's legit a superpower. So maybe one day, I don't know, maybe that comes with puberty later on in life. We'll have to hang on and find out here.
When I was capable of doing a lot of shit at the same time, when I was working in a call center, mate. When I was really fresh out of high school, I had this horrible job, and I could like talk with people and play games at the same time on my phone and type. And like, because it was all like the same, I had the same speech, like 8 hours a day. It was the same conversation with everyone. You know? So that's why I think my brain said, all right, that's on autopilot right now. Now you can do a lot of other shit.
That makes a ton of sense, man. That's crazy that you worked in a call center. I actually had a call center era in my own life as well. I was never that good at it, but thanks for sharing that story, man. Dude, I think that might be the key. We just got to do things 1,000 times, and then eventually it'll just become muscle memory, and we'll be good to go. So, hey, practice makes perfect. Let's do this then. Hey, so first chart that I'm going to be looking at, everyone, is the Bitcoin daily chart. So that's the first one on the thread here. We have definitely had that continuing upwards movement. We have made some new recent highs. You can see. The one really interesting thing about this chart here that I'm going to stick to it is that top yellow line that transverses the entire screen. That's the one that I actually made my video about. This is that really strong resistance line that is, it's validated even on the weekly chart, which the higher time frame, the higher the power. This one is freaking strong. You can see that if you were actually to zoom into this, we've broken over it, but we have yet to close over it. So I'm going to be very interested to see kind of what happens over the next couple of days with this one. My gut is telling me that last effort that we put in, a lot of the times what you see is one final push that does make a new high above our resistance, and that can be known as a liquidity grab, or a way to either trigger losses, signal people to buy long, or just another way for people to really fill their bags or drop their bags before making a nice move down. I'm just going to be keeping a very close eye on this, because this is definitely, it was a big move up with a fair amount of volume. A lot of the times you see a move back down. So moving forward, we've got that second yellow line. That's the yearly pivot. I pointed this out a couple of times too, but you can see as well, we have yet to be able to close underneath that. So the power of this as a support has been tremendous. So if we can't end up breaking up and holding over this top yellow line, I'm hoping that this bottom one will continue to act as some pretty strong support, but we'll see. So moving forward, what am I expecting? So if we do break up and above, we can see that the next really strong resistance level is going to be the 32,000 region. we've got a really strong supply zone that dates all the way back to, let's see, what do we got? Around June of 2022. So I will expect some more resistance from there. On the other hand, if we break back below that yearly pivot, that bottom yellow line, we have got the 50-day moving average on the weekly time frame, that red diagonal line that's coming up, that will act as support. And if we break below that, then we've got that volume shelf a little bit further. That so I'm guessing around the $24,000 level will be our next low. So we'll keep an eye on that. Moving on here real quick to the hourly chart. That just gives us a closer look on everything that I was just talking about. I've changed the pivots. Those are those orange horizontal lines. Those are on the weekly time frame now. And you can see that we're still trading over those, but the gap between each pivot is now starting to decrease. And you do see that when a trend does start to slow, and often it indicates that a move is starting to weaken, and we might expect to see a reversal or a correction in the near future as well. So this is just another observation that I made. We have that lower yellow line, which is that really strong support. We also have that bullish order block that is in the same region as that line. So that area will offer a fair amount of support. So if we do carry down, I'm hoping that area will either deflect or slow down price. So before I jump into Ethereum, anything you guys want to add in here? Any thoughts, any questions before I move on? We'll break things up a little bit. All right. So far, so good. Can I get some thumbs up and make sure you guys can still hear me? I just want to make sure. Sometimes if I monologue too long, perfect. Excellent. So let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going. So let's look at Ethereum now. Very similar picture. Hold on a second here. I've got the so the one on the right actually is the daily one. So we'll take a look at that real quick. Still putting in higher highs, still in a very strong uptrend. We can see that. So there's a couple of orange diagonal lines that go kind of in an upwards direction. This is a pretty strong and established range that price is in. So I'm hoping that because we are moving back down now, I'm hoping that we'll bounce off the lower end of this range and go to retest and potentially make a higher high. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that one for now here. And I'm just going to, I feel like I'm getting a little zoned into the small price movements here. Let's scale out. So basically from here, we are holding some pretty significant highs. What I'm going to be looking for moving forward is a break out of this range that we're in right now that you can see with those two diagonal orange lines. If we do break above, we see that really strong resistance area just above us, just sub 2,000. We've got that really strong supply zone. We've got a strong high that was established back in August 2022. And then there was one other thing here, just from a price action standpoint, that we have multiple touches where that purple line is, and that's also going to indicate just a very, very strong resistance level. So I definitely anticipate some resistance at that point. However, if we break to the bottom side, one huge piece of encouragement that I'm seeing is if we look on the right-hand side, we've got those blue and yellow lines. That's, as I've said several times now, that's one of my go-to indicators. That's volume by price. And we have a massive volume shelf that starts around, let's see here, about 1650 and goes down to about 1450. So I am going to anticipate that price will slow when it hits that area. And at the bullish scenario, it will bounce right off it and continue back up. On the bearish side of things, I anticipate that it will kind of fall into it. I know it's likely will take a lot of effort to break through the bottom of it. So I'm anticipating that price, if it does reach those levels, will hit it and then spend some time in that shelf there. So that's what I'm looking at for the daily. Let's switch over to the hourly, which is the one on the left-hand side here. Here I've got the weekly pivots as well. Actually, I believe this over all three commodities here. This is actually on this chart, we've actually broken through the downside of the top weekly pivot. I'm not sure if we are still there. I don't have the live chart up above me, but the fact that we broke below it is a bear sign. So you can see that we still have some space in this range to the downside. So we still have down to about 1780, and if we can hold that level, the price will still respectfully be in this range. We also have this yellow downward angled trend line here. So if we do break out of this range and we do break through that blue rectangle, which is a bullish order block, I am hoping and anticipating that yellow trend line will continue to act as support. And you can see kind of moving forward, it actually dips into the next blue rectangle below, which is a bullish order block as well. And that's actually a strong sign of confluence. So if it does take, let's say, a couple of days, by the time April 5th comes around, that's when we test that area. That's like double support there. And the confluence does amplify strength. So a lot of good things working for us to keep price of Ethereum over the $1,600 level. So I'm hoping if we do continue to go down, then we'll be safe from massive drawdowns. Looking at a resistance level, you can see that red rectangle that I drew in has been historically just price has not been able to break through it. And even the last high that we did wasn't even able to reach it. So this tells me that the bulls are starting to lose some steam here. Sometimes you do see one final push and attempt where you actually break through it. But often those are false moves and will break back down. But yeah, I mean, all three of these commodities have just been continuing to blow my mind and just break right through my expectations of what they're going to do. It's been unreal how much they've just been able to continue to push and push higher. I'm sure the whole macroeconomic situation is really helping and driving that. I'm sure there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that I have no idea what the heck is going on is pushing that as well. But kind of push comes to shove, still very, very bullish on all three of these assets. And yeah, we're lots to be excited about. Trades, I see your hand up. I'm going to send the mic over to you here real quick before I jump into the Solana charts.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Appreciate it, Trav. That was a cool analysis. And I know we've been meaning to get together anyway, so I'm glad we're able to connect on Spaces today.
We sure have, man. Yeah, no, we've been chatting behind the scenes for a while. The comment that I just made about all of these other kind of macro events influencing price in such a way these days, Trades, you are the man who has a much clearer view on what exactly is going on. Just to kind of share some context with everyone, Trades is also in the creators community. And it's just a pleasure to have you here, man. And the one thing about you that really stuck out to me right away is I remember there was one day you posted some of your analysis in the Discord, and it just blew my mind. So just as a bit of a teaser, we will be hosting some sort of a live event with a screen share in the near future. And yeah, prepare to dive into some pretty amazing concepts. So Trades, really appreciate you being here, man, and really looking forward to discussing all this stuff with you today. Or not today, but in the very near future.
Hell yeah, man. And I was going to say, we could still discuss it today. There's no problem with that. I just wanted to come on here, and I heard you were talking TA. I heard support and resistance on a space, and it's not often I hear that, so I decided to come in and share a little bit of analysis and what I've been seeing in the markets. Maybe we can see some confluence.
Ooh, I love it, man. Okay, so here's the deal. Quantic, I want to run this by you. I want to know what you think. I'm very excited to get to our guest today. Hosting spaces is our topic today, so I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole when it comes to TA. But Trades, I would also love to hear your analysis. So Quantic, I'm going to leave the verdict to you, my friend. What do you think?
I am here to support the community. So if we see some thumbs up, we can give it, let's say, about 10 minutes for talking a bit more about this TA because it's really interesting. So please react with thumbs up if you guys want to talk about TA a little bit more. Yeah, I see some. Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Cool.
Awesome. All right, Trades. Yeah, clock's ticking, my friend. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna need 10 minutes because Travis, you do a very good job of covering those top 3 coins right now. what I really wanted to do is when I'm doing my technical analysis, I'm looking more for Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, and I'm looking really at Bitcoin inflows and outflows from USD, not stable coins. Because as we know, this pump from about $16,000 has been fueled by stablecoin printing. I don't have any charts I can show on here, but if you look at the USDT market cap and compare that to the Bitcoin price, you will see almost a carbon copy when you look at those two charts compared to each other. Another thing that I really want to point out that I think everyone that has access to TradingView and does charting all the time should definitely look into. There's a chart called BTC USD /USD /M2SL. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of what that is. All you need to know is it's measuring the US dollar inflows and outflows into Bitcoin. If you look, and I think Travis actually may have it pulled up on the charts here. Yeah, but if you look at Travis's Bitcoin daily time frame and you see about the beginning of January where we made that first move up to, where was it? When we got up to about 22,000 to about 25,000. Since then, up until now, we have actually been seeing inflows from Bitcoin falling out and decreasing. So that means people aren't necessarily buying spot Bitcoin with US dollars. That can leave only one possible thing for this pump to be happening. That is stablecoin printing. And I could get into the conspiracy theories of it. And after this, I'll go ahead and leave it and let you guys continue talking with what you were talking about. But as we know, one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the industry is under a lawsuit right now. And I don't necessarily think anything bad's going to happen. But I find it very, very interesting that he is a majority player in these stablecoin printings. And then it just so happens that after all of the stablecoins have been printed and they started slowing it down again, that he comes up with a lawsuit against them. So I'll leave y'all with that conspiracy theory for today. You can toss it around in your brains. But I just want to appreciate it. Quantic, Travis, Chillpill, appreciate y'all having me on here. And I look forward to see what we all have building in the bull run, guys.
Ooh, trades, my man. I don't know if you guys can tell right now, but if you were to actually be here in the room with me, I'm vibrating. I geek out so hard about this stuff, and to have this extra layer of richness of substance that goes into this analysis is just awesome, man. Dude, I really appreciate you being up here with us and adding that perspective. Normally, when I do my analysis, it's purely of what I see on the chart, and that's just because my ADHD is only. It only allows me to to really focus on the one thing intensively. I do get very overwhelmed when I start to think about all the possibilities, the outside factors that can affect this. So to have you and add this just such a powerful perspective on why these things are happening is fantastic, man. So thank you so much. Beauty. All right, sorry, I heard someone talk. I want to give you the mic back.
I just said thank you.
Pleasure, my man. Pleasure. Awesome, brother. Okay, so let's dive into the last two charts here, and then let's get into how to host some solid frickin' spaces here. So we have got Solana, the daily chart on the left-hand side. I've been looking at this one for a while. So I think the most important thing that I see here when it comes to Solana is a formation called the descending wedge. And now this forms from two of these lines here that I see. So we've got this one on this yellow diagonal line that has been validated as a very strong resistance level all the way back. I mean, to like mid 2022, probably even it actually. You know what? To be honest, it is from even before that. I just didn't. I didn't zoom out quite enough on this specific chart here, but this is a strong resistance level. Now, the diagonal yellow trend line, the smaller one, kind of just below that one, that has been acting as quite a strong support since mid-January this year as well. So when you see a pattern like this, where it's a wedge that's compressing into a small, or compressing into a specific point that's angling downwards, that is a bullish formation and has a high probability, not 100% probability, but I would say about a 60-70% probability of of price inevitably breaking to the upside and continuing its upward trend. So this is definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. When we're looking at the pivots, those short orange lines here, these are the weekly pivots. Just like Ethereum, price has been trading underneath the top weekly pivot now since end of March. So this is, hold on, I'm getting confused now. So basically about a week ago or so. No, not even that. A couple of days ago. There we go. Getting things figured out here. So the one other thing that's really interesting with this, two other things, but the first one is when we're looking at the pivots, here you can really see how the gap between each pivot is getting smaller. And this, like I was saying earlier, it could be a sign of exhaustion, could be a sign that we may be looking for a bit more downside before any further moves up. And the last thing that I want to point out here is just the fair amount of supports, or not supports here, the fair amount of resistance that we have accumulating above us. First of all, we've got that roughly $27 green line there that has been such a firm line in the sand for, let's see here, since mid-January. We haven't even been able to barely get above that line at all. Plus, we've got these two massive bearish order blocks that have formed now as well. That is going to take a fair amount of effort to break up and above. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is break over this trend line here. That's the first order of business. And then once we break out through these order blocks, we still have that $27 point. So a lot of work is going to be needed to break out and above. So if we can't get there, I can see, carrying on to the downside. Eventually, it looks like kind of the pinnacle of this formation will happen around end of May, mid-May. They don't price doesn't always follow through patterns like this all the way to the end. Often they will break out before end. But to me, we still have some consolidation. We still have some sideways movement. We still have a little bit of downwards movement to gain strength, to gain bulls, to accumulate, cryptocurrencies before moving up to the upside. So yeah, if we do break down to the downside, we again have that massive volume shelf with that red line as well. And that's the volume point of control. That's the one spot where there's the most volume present for that specific price point, and that's the $13.64 area. So I firmly believe that if price gets down that low, it will be held up by that area. But then below that, we also have that very, very strong bullish order block as well. So I think that's about, I'm going to leave it there. I could go on and on because there's so much here to talk about, but I'm going to leave it at that for now because we have some important things to dig into today. So before I end the conversation about TA, are there any final burning thoughts or questions that anyone kind of wants to add to the table here? The opportunity is yours. And I'm going to sip some espresso here.
I have one. When is your course coming, man? Because I want to take it.
When's my course? Okay. I'm not sure that I've spoken to you about this, Quantic, but this is interesting. I'm actually strongly considering putting all of my thoughts down and getting oh my goodness, there's a word. What is the word? Substack newsletter going and kind of starting from the bottom and working my way up and making the concepts more and more advanced as time goes by. That is something that I'm thinking about. And as soon as I kind of get my life straight here, I think that would bring me a lot of joy to make. So if anyone's interested, definitely keep your eyes posted for announcements on that in the very near future, man. Or man, all of you guys, geez. But yeah, Quantic, thank you for asking that.
Yeah. I mean, you're such a good teacher. I don't know if you practiced before on another different setting, but you have a lot of, very good qualities for that. And I would really appreciate learning more about this topic with you, especially, because when it comes to trading, I kind of don't believe anyone, because of a thing that, it's usually with people that are trying to sell you something and, it doesn't feel good. But with you, man, it feels amazing. I want to learn more trading. So anyway, let's just start this magnificent space. And I wanted to, okay, today we are going to be discussing a lot of things regarding, how can you leverage spaces? What are some tips? But I wanted to heat up the room a little bit by starting with a burning question that I have, which is about challenges. So I wanted to ask Chill Pill, when you started doing spaces, maybe you can give us a little bit of context. What were the first challenges that you guys faced?
I think the most important thing that we had to kind of establish from the get-go was what is it that we want our spaces to be, right? Like what's the personality of the space that we want to have, and how is it different? Because I guess when it comes to Twitter Spaces, you've got a bunch of them going around right now. It's not like, during the first wave of Spaces when you didn't really have as many hosts. So it was about how to make it different. And for me and Dom, it was actually this idea of having a space where we actually rely on our speakers and get everyone on the stage, regardless of their spoken English quality, and then regardless of their background, and how to create this safe atmosphere for people to feel confident to come on stage, because that's what we identified at that point as being the missing piece in Web3 in terms of Twitter Spaces, right? And the second one, which was on the same level, thinking about this right now, was the time slot. Because it's really, really hard if you start Spaces right now and you want to solidify your position as a host. It's really hard to do it when all of the top Spaces are starting at that same time. It's really hard to capture the audience if they tune into those gigantic Spaces, usually that have giveaways and kind of a monetary value that they give away every time. So those were the two biggest challenges. But yeah, man, it's hard. I would say for anybody who's trying to start Twitter Spaces, you cannot just start by hosting and that's it. You really need to know how to transition from a listener to a speaker to a co-host and then to a host, and you have to do that consistently. So that would be my advice.
I like that take. You know what? That isn't something that I've really put a lot of thought into before, but it makes a ton of sense. You really get to learn kind of the landscape, and you learn kind of the what to do and what not to do. So I guess the unspoken rules about interacting in Spaces by literally starting on the bottom and working your way up. And to kind of add a little bit of context to that, if we're looking at kind of like a real life perspective, I think, like, let's compare a Spaces host to a boss. So in my perspective, and let me know what you guys think here, but some of the bosses and managers that I've connected with the most in kind of a real world context are people that have literally worked their way up to get there and have not just been handed that, I guess, level of authority or that level of power. Like, for example, when I worked in emergency, my favorite bosses were ones that started off as maybe a janitor and then worked their way up to being a care aide, and then worked their way up to be a nurse, and then worked their way up to be then a unit manager. And all of a sudden they get to this level. And I think the true value of that statement, Chill, is that you are learning all of the details about the entire process. By starting as a listener, you know what it's like to be a listener. And then by the time you get to the position of being a host, you know what a listener likes and doesn't like when they come to a space. So I like that. I like that a lot. And actually, you know what? I realized I haven't really spent a whole lot of time as a listener in Spaces. And you've definitely inspired me to kind of take a look at that and really, spend some time checking out different spaces, getting active in different, different circles. And I think what a great place to start. What a great place to start. Chill, I want to give you the mic back.
Yeah, there's one other thing I wanted to add, and this is something we've experienced at first with our Spaces too. It's about protecting your Spaces. What do I mean by that? Especially at first, on Spaces, a lot of people come to shield their own projects, products, services, whatever, right? because that's just normal behavior on Twitter, especially if they don't know much about your show. Now it's about tuning in, getting the mic, and starting to talk about my bullshit, because that's all I care about, and that's why I'm here. So we really wanted to be aware of those type of speakers that don't make any connection, just come on and start dropping their shillings, like without even proper introduction. So it was hard at first because we would get a lot of them, and then we would not welcome them, and they would leave, and our audience wouldn't grow, and we would be concerned, and we would think about maybe we're doing this wrong, right? So we're never gonna get to that place. But what happened is that because we were consistent with that, and because people understood that we're not here to sell them anything on a regular basis, they started appreciating that. So then, slowly but surely, we weren't really the ones that had to do that. The speakers and our audience was doing it for us. And that was the shift. That was the moment when we actually realized, all right, we're onto something here. People really do appreciate this format. Let's keep it going. Let's be protective of our spaces. And this is a wild, it's a wild, wild west. Like sometimes you do get trolls. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more aggressive. And I feel that's also necessary when you're starting out and your spaces start growing. So yeah, guys, don't hesitate to be a little bit more aggressive when you need to be. The lion is the lion for a reason. Like you don't fuck with the lion. So you need to get that straight also. And this happens mostly when you start growing a little bit more. But one last thing I want to add on this topic is the comments. And a lot of people don't do that. So like a lot of the big ones don't do that. I've noticed that around the space. If you just look at what gets a space's exposure, a lot of the times is the comments, and you tend to forget about the people in your audience as being participants. You only consider them listeners, but they're not. They're also participants. So I would like to encourage everyone on this space also to go in the comments and participate actively in the conversation, because there are two reasons why somebody cannot speak. First, they just cannot because of circumstances. Maybe they're from a computer. Maybe they just cannot speak because they're busy or they're at work. And second, they're not confident enough, right? So you always have to remind yourself that everybody tuning in, it's actually a participant, not only a listener. And you have to constantly remind people to be an active participant by going into the comment section, and contributing to the conversation, especially if you're debating something, especially if you're trying to teach them something. So that's super important. So I would encourage you all of you guys here on the stage, go in the comment section, especially when we're talking about technical analysis and shit, right? So give your thoughts, give your opinions, and you guys as hosts and co-hosts, you need to keep an eye on that all the time. Like if somebody drops a comment on your space, you like and you reply. And you have to do that fast as well, especially when you're at the beginning, because it matters. People notice, and then they will come back to your spaces because they know they can also be a participant without being a speaker. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Oh man, chill. You brought some awesome points here. So yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you, man. Thank you. This is some real world experience, some real world wisdom that you're sharing with us. From I can't even imagine how many hours you've put into spaces over the years. I'm gonna go on a limb and guess at least thousands. I mean, you've been doing this for how long, man?
I think we're like with the Creators Talk Show like 7 months right now, but I did for another year before that. So yeah, I could comfortably say that I think I've got around 3,000 or 4,000 hours of spaces as at least a speaker or a host or a co-host. So yeah, it's been a long journey.
No kidding, man. No kidding. So the fact that you're here with us today, sharing these tremendously valuable tips, I sure freaking appreciate you, brother. This is awesome. So the first point I want to touch on is protecting your spaces. Now, I had an experience a couple of weeks ago now when we had our episode on mental health that really just kind of made me realize how important of an issue this is. So to kind of just share a little bit of context on that, like you said, Chill, Quantic and I, one of the most important things that we value and that we're trying to, foster in this space is one of safety and one of, no judgments. And we want to encourage people to come here and be themselves, to feel like they don't have to put on a show, to feel like they don't have to pretend to be someone that they're not, so that they can be their genuine selves. And when we had our space about mental health, this all kind of came to a whole new level because we were being very vulnerable. People were opening up about things like some of their most traumatic experiences in their lives. So this idea of safety, it just was brought to a whole other level. And I remember there was one point where we had a speaker and they were pouring out their heart and soul into the space. And all of a sudden, this one other speaker who I had led up earlier the mic starts going hot, and they literally start interrupting this amazing person and start trying to shill their project. I don't even remember exactly what it was that they were trying to talk about, but I like that moment, that reaction that my body had in that moment. I will never forget it. I'm not a parent, and I don't plan on being a parent, but this is the type of scenario that I would imagine a mother would face if some freak off the street came and started to approach their kids. The activation, the fury, the rage that rose above me was real, man. And I was just like, no, hammer dropped, get out of here. I'm pretty sure I even gave him a scolding. Like, this is not the space for that. No, like you're out. Like, this is, yeah. Anyways, I'm starting to feel a little ragey here, and that's not what I want. That's not what I want. This is a space about love and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. But just know that that's real.
I just want to add here that I remember that moment so clearly on my mind because I saw you for the first time, like outraged, right? And I was like, wow, now I see Trav, angry, the first and only time, to be honest. So yeah, but you were, just so you know, because I don't think I gave you feedback about that situation before. You act like a perfect gentleman, and you were super chill and super polite. So yeah. You did it amazing, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you. Honestly, that took a lot of effort because I just wanted to lay into that person. But definitely, kind of a guy's got to lead by example and not get, there's a specific word that I'm looking for, but it's evading me right now. Not get consumed by the fury here. That's also not a good look here. So thank you, Quantic. I appreciate that. But here, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest has arrived. Sansa is in the building. Sansa, thank you so much. And thank you for being here. You have been on the mic now since what, about 6:30 this morning when I heard you on the creator space? Just, man, the man's nonstop.
Well, I wasn't there for the whole creator space. I was really just there for like the last 10 minutes because I noticed he was still going on, and I just decided to come in and totally waste 5 minutes of Chill Pill's time monologuing and thanking him for absolutely zero reason. But
I was sure gonna say I decided wasting 10 minutes of my life on the creator space. That was right there for you, man, and you didn't take it. You're such a good dude. Like
yeah, so I love Chill Pill, and we've only really gotten to talk a couple of times, and it's just every single time it's been great. But I've been straight on the mic since 10:30, so about under 3 hours now. And then right after this, we're gonna go into a spaces at 2 until like 3:30 or 4. Then I'm gonna go pick up my daughter. Then it's putting my phone down with daddy daycare time until she goes to bed.
Oh, my man. Well, hey, just goes to show how much you are appreciated for being here, man. For anyone who doesn't know, Sansa, you've been in the space now for what, 2 years? Something along those lines?
Yeah, 2 years. Really closer to like 9 months solely on Twitter. And before that, it was like a year-ish plus on Discord.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, just so everyone knows, Sansa has been just absolutely crushing this space. Two main things I want to highlight. The first thing is just one of your top tier spaces host in this space. I've been following you, Sansa, since I think you were around 2000. And at the time I was maybe about 300. And by the time it's taken me to get from 300 to, I think, where am I at now? 2,700. You've gotten from that to like what, over 10K now? Well, you're well over 10K now. Yeah, almost 12K. Holy crap. So the proof is in the pudding, my friends. The proof is in the pudding. This man has just been crushing the spaces, but also, and this is the most important one, and the one why I personally vibe with you so much there, Sansa, is just the positivity and the encouragement and the support that you lend on your spaces each and every day is next level, man. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Let's we're talking about hosting spaces, and who better to have here than yourself and Chill, of course, and then Mary Beth as well. Oh my goodness, so many awesome people.
Yeah.
And Mary Beth, I want to get to you soon too. So here, Sansa or Quantic, mic's yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi to Sansa, man. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I think we haven't spoken in spaces before, but I have seen, I mean, I've been in your spaces for a couple of times. You are always there. So congratulations also on the consistency, just as Chill Pill. And I wanted to, if you can help me introduce Mary Beth Travis, because she's another of our guests, which I think has a lot of experience in spaces, if I'm correct, right?
Absolutely, yes. Mary Beth, we were introduced last week on our episode, and I gotta say, just the force that is Mary Beth is unmatchable. It has been just such a pleasure getting to know you, Mary Beth. You know what? I think I'm not going to be able to do it justice, so I want to allow you the moment to introduce yourself. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and the mic is yours.
Thank you so much. And first of all, thank you so much, Quantic, for hosting this, and Trav and Sansa for co-hosting. It's a beautiful time to be here today. And Sansa, such a great time with you in a Twitter space last night, actually, about hosting. So this is really cool. My name is Mary Beth Salas. For those of you who don't know me, my professional background is public relations. I still practice that a little bit here in Web3, and I do some public speaking on the side as well. Love this talk about hosting spaces, and someone had posed the question about, the challenges, and then Chill Pill went a little bit about, protecting your space, which I find very, very important as well. One challenge that I thought I had, but I realized it didn't really become a real challenge or problem for me was, hey, okay, when I first started, my question was like, what is my format going to be, right? And some people don't even think about format, and that's okay at first. I will preface with this, like, there is no right or wrong way to host a space. There are obviously so many styles you can take. Sometimes you have the one-on-one Q&A. Sometimes you have more forums like this. This format actually today has been really cool. I was like, I kind of like how they have like a 20, 30-minute opener of, what's going on with crypto or maybe in whatever respective industry you're in. And then you go into a topic. Like, that's pretty cool because you kind of set this like tone and foundation, like, hey, let's recap with this and let's go into our forum. And that's really cool too. And so kind of like what Chill Pill was saying, and I still practice this to this very day. I hosted a lot of spaces last year, regularly once to twice a week, same times, each week. This year, I haven't really relaunched my regular spaces yet because I found myself a lot listening. There are newer spaces that have come since the past year and a half, even new formats. And yes, there are, really big spaces that are just kind of drama filled. And I realize why there are a lot of people in there, but there are also a lot of big spaces and small spaces that have really cool content or opportunities where you get to meet people. I think I wanted to point out that as a listener, like, I would learn about, and I mentioned this a little bit last night, but I'll say it again. Like, I got to, like, every host has his or her or their own style, right? They might have rules, and that's okay. Those rules might not be the same as mine, or my rules might not be the same as theirs. Like, I know that when I go into a space, I tend not to pin things to the top unless I'm invited to, or if I ask if it's relevant to the space. I know there are a couple people who are like trusting of people, like, go ahead and pin if it's relevant. You've kind of built that trust if you've spent time in their spaces. There are also some spaces that are very strict about, like, please raise your hand, blah, 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 but sometimes when you get to be, whether you're a regular in a space, or maybe you just pick up on the vibe. Maybe it's a space where you can just chime in a little bit respectfully, right, when the time is right, to contribute or immediately respond to someone's comment, but always let the main speaker, have the mic at the time. So I think, like, it can still be a challenge for some people, even if you've had experience hosting, just kind of, understanding other people's formats and then creating your own, which might be very different. So those are some initial thoughts that I have at the moment.
Oh man, talking about value, that was concentrated value. I think the amount of notes that I filled my page. To be honest with you, I've been writing. My hand kind of hurts right now. So Mary Beth, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing these initial thoughts. You've definitely got my mind going about the format thing, and I know we've kind of touched on this, Quantic, just talking outside of these spaces. But yeah, there truly does seem to be so much importance when it comes to that, and then kind of just you see it all over the place on CT, the power of being consistent, and I truly believe that is a huge part that plays into hosting spaces as well as the power of consistency. I think having that set format plays into that. So you kind of give the audience an expectation of, what they can, well, I said that all wrong here, but it gives them an idea of what they can expect. And, it allows them to extract value quite a bit more tangibly. So great contribution, Mary Beth, and I look forward to digging more into that. But we've got a lot of hands here right now, and Sansa, I saw your hand up there first, so I want to give the mic back to you. Also, just noting and just throwing it out there, I know your time is very short today. You probably got about half an hour with us, so definitely want to be respectful of that. So Sansa, without further ado, the mic is yours, my friend.
Yeah, and I promise I'll be concise because I basically have already done like 20 monologues already this morning. We don't need 20 more.
I just gotta say real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. My heart hurts from having to interrupt you, but it has been a dream of mine to have a Sansa monologue on my space. So, my friend, feel free. The mic is yours and thoroughly yours. So,
all right, everyone, kick back. No, I'm just kidding. I actually also naturally monologue even when I say I'm not going to, so don't worry. It'll just come naturally. But what I did want to point out that Mary B said really, really well was that there is literally no one way. There's a reason why there are so many different types of spaces that are still successful despite how different they are. And the funny thing is, like a really quick example, like Mary B was saying that she started out kind of improvising and then eventually fell into this format way, right? And I literally was the opposite. I formatted for like my first, 10 spaces as like a Zoom agenda, if you will. And then as the spaces picked up more and more and more, I started improvising more because that's kind of like almost was necessary. Now, I didn't improvise to the point of I didn't know what I was talking about, but I had like a couple bullet points, this happened today, that happened today. And then I just did the improvise on the expansion off of those bullet points. And so I think that that's something that is really cool to see two different people with almost opposite approaches, yet hitting that same successful metric that everyone else is kind of going off of. And it's a beautiful thing. That's the most beautiful thing, and you said it, maybe we were literally talking about this for 2 hours last night, and it just goes to show that we like really only barely scratched the surface. There's such a deep dive into the psychology of all this with all this social audio. I briefly brought up streaming while on Spaces, which is something I'm kind of doing right now. I'm in the 1% Club Discord BC on video, just on mute, and I'm just, people are just watching me waving my hands around and with this mic in front of me. But like, that's just one of the things that I'm practicing a little bit, and that's kind of part what I see is the next step. Streaming a little bit. Again, not everyone has to do it. It depends on your spaces and whatnot, but I'm treating these spaces like podcasts. That's how I look at these. And this is the best way to practice that. Right? I want to go multi-platform eventually because I can't keep depending on just Twitter, right? And so that at the end of the day, this is the kind of move that needs to be made for this particular goal. And someone else might have a different goal and they might need to do a different move, and that's okay. You don't need to copy, there's not a one copy and paste all approach. And I think that's something that everyone really needs to get in their head. And if you're not really sure where to start, that's okay. Just this is why we talk to each other. This is why we network, to get an idea. Do you think that when I blew up in August that I was a content creator? No, I was a straight up consumer. I've tweeted like nothing of value, just being a regular consumer that were in multiple project communities that was just talking out loud. No one gave it a like, no one commented. It didn't matter. And a flip switch really once thanks to Tama. That's a whole nother story. But and I was able to kind of be like, okay, do I let this opportunity go to waste or do I use it to do something with it? And obviously here we are now. So I think it's really all about, but what helped me maintain it, and I'm wrapping up here, what helped me maintain it was the people that I got to talk to that were trying to be content creators, right? And whereas I didn't even know where to start. So I got to talking to them. I looked at their actions. And one honorable mention that I want to kind of add here is that not everyone knows how to teach. So even when you do talk to them, it might not always be the what's the word I'm looking for? The right approach. Like some people don't know how to communicate a different approach other than theirs. And someone who was a nutrition coach for 5 years before I got into NFTs really helped me be able to be a little bit more objective than an average person. So that's kind of something that I like to remind people. Not everyone knows how to teach it to you or coach it to you. And that's okay. You can still look at their actions and what they're doing and try to apply that to what you're doing. And that's the end of my monologue.
Amazing, Sansa. I think that you shared so many points that I wanted to touch upon. I don't know how much more time do you have. Especially, would like to speak more about the multi-space, like going multi-platform. But I wanted to give the mic real quick here to Chill Pill and then to NFT Unicorn. I don't know, Trav, if you have something to add here before we move on.
Yeah, I just want to say, Quantic, we made it. We made it. Sansa's here and he just delivered a monologue, everyone. Let's wrap it up. Let's go home. We made it. WAGMI has been fulfilled. That's all I got to say. Chill Pill, the mic is yours, my friend.
Yo, I hated the fact that I couldn't hear Sansa. That's why I reconnected. So I just wanted to send a message to my favorite billionaire on the planet and tell him that he's not doing such a good job. But, it is what it is. Maybe I'll just go back to the recording. I want to say, guys, I will need to hop off. This was an absolute pleasure. I'll try to be with you guys as many times as I can. And I hope I contributed with some value to your topic today. And yeah, just a big up for everyone on the stage. Don't forget to drop some comments. Help Trav and Quanti grow the platform. Trav is an absolute gem of an individual. Ever since I've met him, I think he's one of the realest guys in Web3. And you can feel that from the first time you speak with this guy. So just want to give him some flowers because he deserves it. Not sure about Sansa, I'm just not sure. I need to spend more time.
Let's not mangle the flower shop. Let's not mangle the shop.
I think just judging by what people think about you, I think you're a great guy. I need to convince myself, so I'm just gonna need to spend some more time with you, Sam. I'm not that type of girl that you just speak with at the bar and I'm coming home with you in 5 minutes. I need some more time, right? I'm a proper lady, fam. So you have to treat me as such. Much love, guys. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll be back.
Chill. Before you go, you are convincing with me, right? You are convincing with me, right?
I mean, you're Trav's host, right? So, I think, yes, I'm convinced about you. But Sansa, I need more time.
Chill Pill's not cheap. Quantic, sorry, man, I interrupted you.
Much love, guys. Take care. I will see you around. Bye.
Chill, thank you so much for being here, brother. You added that value, so just know that. And you're welcome here all the time. You can get to know Sansa here anytime. Just love you, brother. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's connect soon. Awesome. Quantic, my friend, I totally interrupted you earlier, so I want to give you the mic back here real quick.
No, all good. I think that we can proceed and let's see what our friend NFT Unicorn has to say.
Yes, what's up, everybody? Thank you very much for having me here again. Love these spaces with you guys. It's giving me energy every time. I posted a question on Twitter, and then I realized, well, fuck it. Just go in there and just ask the question straight away, because a little bit of my journey, you guys already knew it, and I'm taking the next steps for hosting Twitter Spaces. Yesterday, I had my first one as a co-host, and I really had some good information from you guys to how to do it. Just be humble in the beginning and just listen. Pretty much what you do at your daily job as well. The most powerful people listen. I got a question for Chill Pill and Mary Beth, but Chill Pill left already. But Mary Beth, you can help me with that, because I was looking for the things you were talking about earlier, setting up a Twitter space, looking which way you want to go. But what I found out with my kids is that the attention arc is so short with these kids these days. How do you keep them in your Twitter space, and what do you think about the perfect length for a Twitter space?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So I'm going to work backwards with it. In terms of the length of Twitter spaces, so this is what I do in my head, and I'm not saying this is what the outcome is actually. So I always aim for an hour, max 75 minutes. So what is that? An hour and 15 minutes. I would rather end a space when it's really strong rather than ending a space when it's just going downhill or maybe slowing down, right? And that's just for the effects to make people want to come back the next day or the next week. Excuse me. There have been a couple times wherein a space has gone maybe 2 hours and I had no idea, but I after having that experience as well, even though those went very, very well, at the end when I closed a space, I think about like a couple 100, 300 people had come through. I still think I was like, okay, I think my hard max, no ifs, ands, or buts, is always going to be an hour and a half. But really, I really want to keep it between an hour and an hour 15 because I do like, and this brings me into another topic. I like to bring in, at least invite some speakers, right? Even if it's just 3 people, 4 people. So if you have 2 to 3 co-hosts, you can always fit about 9 or 10 extra speakers, right? And so out of those 9 or 10, I like to have maybe about 4, maybe sometimes 6, but like 4 who are able to commit for a whole 60 minutes. Why? Because number one, when I open the space, I love seeing a group of people, like when 10 people pop up within the first 15 seconds of my space. It helps algorithm a little bit. When you start it, your space, gets moving a little bit faster. And honestly, it just makes me feel good inside, right? And then when you have these speakers who are able to commit, right? I would choose those speakers. So it's like chicken or the egg. Do I choose a topic, then choose the speakers, or do I find some individuals who are so intriguing, compelling, that I can formulate maybe a couple talking points based on those people, right? And so I've done that, but because I've asked these people to stay, commit to 1 hour, that is why I always shoot for an hour, no more than like 75 minutes, if that makes sense. So if that answers your question about time and then attention. Okay, so my personal style is forum style, kind of like this, minus the standard like industry talk at the beginning. I like to hop right into it. And like I said, I listened a lot, right? I would go discover people in spaces, even if they were just a regular speaker who decided to raise their hand, right? Like I was like, ooh, I want to know more about that person. Or maybe I heard them in a Q&A or an interview style space, right? But I have, believe it or not, I have an Excel sheet, okay? And I even detailed it to like, I have their names, like if they use their real names, I have like their first names and last names. Then I have another column with their handles on it so I can go to their profile whenever I want. And then I have like 3 columns of categories. So like, for instance, I have a roster of lawyers and I'll put in like one category, like one's a lawyer, this one specializes in IP and this one in art, but this one specializes in business formation and litigation, And so I have like this roster of people based on what their expertise is or what their passion is. Sometimes I just have like individuals on my list like that's really passionate about being a parent. So like what kind of substance like parents can bring to a space, even if it's about sports or even if it's about business. What is it like being a parent, or time management? So I like to bring different points of views. And I'm getting very deep into like my method here. So I'll bring, like, I've had spaces where I'll bring in like a parent, a former pastor, a couple lawyers, and we talk about maybe career transitions, right? And the whole space was about like wellness between like you've hit all these great milestones in your life and then you're transitioning, whether it's from being a pro athlete to not being a pro athlete again, whatever it is. But all of these people have very different perspectives. And I know that they might not agree on everything. And so like when discourse takes place, it makes the conversation more interesting. But I also know, mind you, that I've also chosen people who I know to be respectful in spaces. So if they do disagree on things, it won't be like super dramatic. They're not going to fight. They have a track record of maybe respectfully disagreeing, but also presenting their points of view. And so as the host, I'm like, this is so cool. Like you find yourself being the person who speaks the least, right? Even though you're hosting, you actually don't even talk a whole lot. Your speakers do. And people with all these diverse backgrounds are able to carry very interesting, thoughts, opinions, and conversations that intrigues the audience so much that the audience wants to participate. So that's kind of a deep dive into one of my methods.
I think we've lost NFT. I know I see his request, but I'm having some troubles getting him back up here. But so hopefully we'll get NFT Unicorn. Are you with us? Can you hear us, my friend?
Yes. I couldn't listen to your story, but I know it's going to be recorded, so I'm going to listen back. My youngest daughter sent me a WhatsApp, a really cute one, and she's with her mother, and she was crying. So I was trying to respond to that, and then accidentally just swiped the Twitter space away. So I messed up a bit, but I'm really happy with your answer because I listened to it and I got to the Excel part with the lawyers and then it was gone. But I will listen back to it. I'm very happy with your answer. Thank you very much.
Just to simplify it, in order to make a space interesting, a lot of times my speakers make it interesting. And I know that they come from different backgrounds, and I know they're able to disagree respectfully, but carry a really good conversation. So that's what keeps people's attention. So that's a recap of that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And NFT Unicorn, I hope your daughter's good. I hope she's good. And of all the reasons to take off from a space here, that's the most important one. So that's a father win in my books. Speaking about fathers and winning, Sansa, your hand's up. Mike's yours.
Yeah. I agree, Trav. I think the only spaces there might have been like maybe 2 or 3 out of the like 300 to 400 spaces so far that I posted. I think only 2 or 3 of them got rescheduled, and that one of them was because my daughter got really sick, and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna push off this interview to another day. It's a no-brainer kind of deal. But I really want to touch on what Mary B was saying about time. And this is like my favorite thing because one of the biggest observation points that I used was how engaging was the audience and how long were they engaging for, right? And Trav, I think you know this. I don't think it's actually funny to me. I don't think anyone else knows this. I started off hosting a health and nutrition fitness spaces kind of deal. And I knew as a nutrition coach previous that just regular Web 2 people have a tough time with that attention span, which kind of allowed me to get really creative with the way I delivered the information, right? I'm sure as you guys can tell, I was doing a lot of comedic relief while also educating them a little bit more, right? Making them laugh and then throwing some tidbit of information and it's absorbed so that they know when I check in with them next week, they're not going to repeat the same freaking thing all over again. And so that allowed me to get really creative with these spaces because before that and after the NFT, the nutrition coach, I had wanted to do the podcast. It's just, like I feel like every, 30-something-year-old man out there has a podcast, and I knew that I didn't want to get bunched in with that and I didn't know how I could make it special. So when spaces came into the picture, it was just kind of like a no-brainer. But besides all that, put a little bit of context there. I had started off the nutrition, health, and fitness space with a 30-minute time cap because I know Web3 degenerates aren't going to pay attention for more than that, right? And so, yes, was it packed? Absolutely. That's why I said it's only a half hour of your time. This is what we're going to talk about, and there'll be 10 minutes for questions. If you have any, ask them. And if you have something you want to say almost immediately, raise your hand. I'll go to you. And that was something that it was a reassurance that like it won't be a boring as hell space for you to attend. And at the same time, it was only 30 minutes, even if it was a flop. And for a while, it was like that. And then slowly, little by little, I had to go up to 45-minute cap. And then, the 1 hour cap was like kind of 50-50, but I started hitting 1 hour. And then I started listening to other spaces. A lot of them were going 2 to 3 hours, and I would try to stick around. And I noticed that my real hard cap, like absolute, like mental hard cap, was 2.5 hours. But you don't want to push it that far either. So I would just take an hour off so that, the absolute hard cap, like Mary B was saying, is 90 minutes. That to me is the sweet spot. Like you have enough time, you give your speakers enough time to come up with their own questions if they don't already have any. And if you absolutely have a real good discussion flowing, very similar to like we had last night, Mary B, 2 hours is fine. It's acceptable. People are feeling it. People are vibing. Everyone has something to say, and each take is very valid. And you want to dissect that because more often than not, you may not get the same type of panel speakers tomorrow. Hopefully you do, but you just may not. And sometimes as a Spaces host, if that value is really there, you want to ride that a little bit. So obviously it is a case-by-case basis, but I just really wanted to touch on that time. If you are starting off as a Spaces host, don't be afraid to do only 30 minutes. Don't be afraid to do that. Make sure you have, again, Mary B making really great points that, she has 4 speakers. I was risky. I was like, I'll just invite people up, see who comes up. And if no one comes up, I guess I'm monologuing for 20 to 30 minutes, which I promise it never got that far. But I was very fortunate enough to have a group of friends who were curious in the first place about it. So I did almost always have at least 5 to 10 people. And I was happy with that because I knew that they would come up and talk with me as if we were in a room together anywhere else. So, I just wanted to make those points.
Solid and valuable points. Thank you. Thanks to both of you guys. I just want to take a quick moment, take a quick step back here. And once again, just share you guys in some massive appreciation. Honestly, not even joking here. This is, you guys are now where I would absolutely love to be tomorrow. Honestly, like you guys are crushing it. You guys, I admire the heck out of both of you. You're doing amazing work. And not even that, but the work that you're doing truly is selfless and is helping tremendously the people around you. So yeah, you guys have fans for life here. Also want to take a quick step back and just thank everyone who's here with us today. We've got a ton of people here. This is outstanding, and a lot of just incredible people here as well. You know what? I'm scrolling down right now and I'm looking at each and every one of you in the eyes as I do this, and you're all amazing. I have truly appreciated and enjoyed growing with you guys along this journey, and just the fact that you're here with us, spending your time hanging out with us means a lot. And it's usually at this point that we mention there's a tremendous amount of value in getting to know those around you, because I know Quantic can agree that what we are aiming for with this space, Web3 Matters, is to grow a community full of like-minded, driven, and knowledgeable and passionate people. And that is all of you. So highly recommend you take a moment, check out the person beside you, check out the person above and below you. Just give everyone a follow. A ton of value here. And I wish I had the time to go into each and every single one of you, but I don't. So just going to throw out that recommendation. Quantic, how are you doing, man? How are you holding up with all this just insane information? I can feel the amount of questions that are brewing in your head. Where are you at?
Man, this is kind of insane. I'm taking notes. Like I don't remember the last time that I was in a space like taking notes, because there are so many things that we have to learn and implement and experiment with. Thanks to the alpha that was shared here by Sense and Marybeth, that I feel like a student, So it's an amazing feeling, man. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining, and to our speaker, of course. And like Trop said, please connect with each other, because that's one of the main purpose of this space.
Beautiful. Perfect. So the question now becomes where to take this space from here. And I would like to frame my question to everyone as this. So I believe, and looking through the audience here, there are a lot of people who I've spoken to who are considering getting into spaces. So, two-part question. One, what do you recommend to someone as the first steps to take in working towards jumping into spaces? And then why? Why bother? Why pursue getting into spaces? And what value will that bring to your life? Any one of you guys, if you feel like jumping into an answer here, by all means, the mic is yours. I've also got some locked and loaded. Ooh, excellent. I see some hands. Sands, I think you won by a millisecond here. So I'm going to pass the mic to you, my friend. It's all yours.
Yeah, Mary, don't worry. This will probably be my last monologue. But I love this question, and it really, to me, the way these Twitter Spaces poses themselves beside the podcast format is that you essentially are on your phone, kind of hanging out with other people, as if you are in the same room, right? It's what we know is social audio, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is, and it allows me to talk to any one of you, whether you're on the other side of the world, whether you're right next door to me. Like, I get to talk to you as if we are literally just hanging out in person. And that, to me, as someone who I honestly have trouble with, let's say marketing, with advertising, with I'm the dude that stutters so hard when you say, tell me about yourself. How would you describe yourself? I genuinely do not know. I just simply am me. Like, I'm a very animated person. I'm a clown. I like to have fun. I also want to try to help you learn a little something each day. 1% better, whether it's something that you are genuinely curious about. And if I have the information, I want to give it to you. So to me, Spaces really kind of was like a little bit of a fulfilling thing for me, and just in general. And I know that's coming off as a little sentimental, because there are other people who like, yeah, this is just business. And it still is. But to the best kind of way to do that, like, because at the end of the day, I want to be a genuine person, and I want you to feel like I'm being genuine with you, but I'm not going to force it either. If you say, no, I don't want to do Spaces with you, then I'm not going to force that. Why would I do that? That is so silly. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'll pay you money. No. I've had people say that. I'm like, there's no offense. It's just that the vibes aren't there, and we're not able to be a little genuine, and we're just not able to kind of pick up the mic or just really just as if we were friends. Then, maybe it'll take a little bit more warming up than we realize, and that's okay. I just feel like so many people are such in a rush for absolutely no reason. Maybe that's just my, me being 32, been going through a lot of different things in life, and just having literally little by little growing that tolerance, that patience. And maybe that's just me, but I just think at the end of the day, when you have to force something, you are not being very genuine. And that alone, people can sense that, right? Everyone can sense that, even if you think they can't. And even if they can't, it's exhausting for you as a person. It drains your energy. Like, imagine doing this amount of Spaces, right? I'm right now I'm on Spaces number 3. I'm about to go into Spaces number 4 in 7 minutes. And I don't feel tired. I'm perfectly fine, because I'm just being me, and I'm enjoying, and I'm helping educate in some way, shape, and form. Whether I'm bouncing off someone else, or whether it's one of my points or someone else's point that I want to elaborate on, is something. And that, to me, at the end of the day, is more valuable than anything else.
Wow. Jeez. Yeah. I'm speechless, man. There were a couple of times as you were talking there that I really had to check to see if that was my mouth moving or if that was sound I heard coming through my headphones into my ears, because, man, like, as you were talking, just how every single thing that you said just resonated with me to my core. It just blows my mind. I don't know. Are we brothers? Are we related? Who are your parents? Where are you from, man? Let's get to the bottom of this.
We might be, Trav. We genuinely might be. I don't know. I feel like you and I are on Twitter almost at the same times. Yeah, no, I just want to say really quickly, I'll still be in the spaces for a little bit longer as I can, but just in case I don't get a chance, I just want to thank Trav and Quantico for having me up here. Mary Beth, is always a pleasure. I know we just kind of met last night, but so far it has been a pleasure, and I love you, and I love how you come off well spoken, and just the way that we can all have a very critical and constructive discussion without going at each other's throat. I feel like everyone else is just fiending to go at each other's throat. So it's just really such a pleasure to experience that and have that. So I just want to say I do appreciate every single one of you. And without you guys, there would be none of this. So thank you.
Oh man, Will Sansa. Hey, sorry, Quantic. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to say thanks to Sansa, and actually I wanted to take like a brief moment to acknowledge Bidu, who commented before, and I'm just going to read the tweet because I think it's very important. So he or she said that I'm still trying to find courage to jump on spaces, so I am not the best to give advice on this. I know that it's a massive amount of value that will be added in your personal development if you start doing that, especially on spaces with hosts and co-hosts like you two. So thank you very much.
Oh man, yeah, thank you. That's honestly, if ever you are looking to kind of break the ice and give speaking a shot, just know that you're welcome here. Just know that you'll be safe to do that. There'll be no judgment, only support. We love helping people break into speaking into spaces. It's not easy. Honestly, I still get anxious every single time I'm about to speak. I get so anxious every time I'm about to start into a space. It's crazy. So just know that that's normal. Just know that you're welcome, and we love you as well. Real quick as well, Sansa, before we lose you, my friend, this has been awesome. Honestly, this has been a dream come true hanging out with you here today. So happy we got to connect like this. On a personal note, I would love to connect further. What you're doing with multi-platform broadcasts, just that's what Quantic and I are trying to figure out here. So awesome. Thank you so much for being here, man. There was one point that you brought up in particular, and that's about the effects of being genuine and being yourself, and how in the long run, in my opinion, for a guy like myself, and clearly for a guy like yourself, because we're the same person, that is the one and only way to make this a sustainable venture, is by being yourself, by being genuine. And honestly, and there's that one extra point I think you just nailed, was doing this with the perspective of wanting to be of service to others. This is the combination for success in the long run. This is what will give you energy. This is what will help propel you forward and allow you to have that sustainable growth, because I truly believe that people really resonate with all three of those points. So Sansa, man, just tremendous value again. Look forward to hanging out with you in the future. And just thanks once again for being here. Mary Beth, I saw your hand was up. Oops, sorry, Quantic.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say real quick. I would love to do this again when I'm not 45 minutes late. And also, Mary Beth, I would also love to connect further as well. I feel like you and I are very similar minded, and I'm so sorry for hogging the mic the last 10 minutes. I promise I'm trying to let it go. But yeah, I'll stick around to the last minute that I can. Appreciate y'all.
Love it, brother. Love it. Quantic, mic's all yours, my friend.
I think that the mic is for Mary Beth now.
Perfect. Mary Beth, all yours.
Thank you. So, how or why or how, to start getting into spaces. So, as I mentioned before, so I listened a lot in spaces, right? And I heard really great content. And, I liked a lot of them. Some of them I didn't like as much as others. And I just realized that maybe it was out of selfishness. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's because I just wanted to if there's not a space that I absolutely am so excited about being in, this was at the moment, at some point last year, I was like, maybe I should just create it myself. But also Sansa brought up a really good point. He indirectly brought up the subject matter of audiences. There are so many different audiences, right? And not everyone wants to hear the same content all the time. Not everyone is a Web3 DJ. At the same time, not everyone is, a tight knit working professional that is always serious. And so I wanted to point that out because like there's if you create something, right? Create something that's like relatable to you. Create something that, you know, feels natural to you. Like Sansa said, don't go out of your way to do something that doesn't feel right, right? Like for me, I actually admire the people who can do the straight Web3 degen with giveaways and chill stuff. It is needed in an industry of Web3. It's helpful, you know, it's how people learn about projects. That just was not my forte. Have I gone into those and do I still? Yes, I do. But that's just not where my strength is, right? And I admire the people who could do that. I knew where my strength was like when I did meet these project founders and these people in the Web3 industry, I loved getting to know the humans. And so I found a little niche in like, hey, I'm going to have a space where I maybe talk about like life things. Some of them are a little bit tough to talk about. Sometimes they're more lighthearted, but I want people to be featured as the humans behind the PFPs. And so that's kind of how I started my conversations in Twitter Spaces. So people had the opportunity to see the other side of, you know, a Web3 degen or an artistic individual or a project founder, just to do something a little bit different. So that was kind of like my why and how did I think of starting something on my own.
So let me just say that Mary Beth and I, we actually connected yesterday. We had a good long chat, and it was that exact approach to Spaces that really made me realize, just how do I want to express this thought, Mary Beth? It's that, this is how I know that I want to listen to everything that you have to say about Spaces, because this is the exact reason why I'm drawn so strongly towards continuing this adventure of going forward with Web3 Matters. Is, like I've said multiple times in these spaces, and to anyone who doesn't know, I have a background in healthcare. So I've been a nurse now for the last 7 years. I've been a trauma nurse for the past 4 years. And that was the one thing about that job as well that just made me fall in love with the work, was getting to know the person, but not even just that, getting to know the real person, you know, having those genuine human conversations is just so powerful. And if we're taking a step way back, honestly, in my personal opinion, perfectly outlines the beauty of the human experience, is that connection. We are creatures that have been designed genetically to thrive in relationships with others. We have been designed to that as a species has allowed us to evolve to this extent. So we are ingrained to want to connect, and we do better when we do connect. So to be able to create a space like this that has basically a premise behind it of wanting to get to know you, wanting to have deep conversations, you know, catalyze these beautiful conversations about these really important topics that are relevant to all of us, is the essence of it for me. And Mary Beth, I just really do appreciate you shining some light on that. And in saying all of that, I want to invite anyone here to the stage. We've got some just amazing experience at our fingertips here to tap into. I invite you guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, if you have any suggestions for areas of conversation that you want to take this conversation to for the next little bit while we're still here, or just share your experiences when it comes to talking in spaces, or being a listener in spaces, or hosting a space, just know that the invitation is here for you to come and join us. We'd love to hear from you. And NFT Unicorn, I see your hand is up, so I'm going to pass the mic to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Trav. I want to share my experience that I had last night with my first co-host space. It was pretty strange because I've been a manager in the supermarket for over 20 years, at pitches for over 500, 600 people when we come together with the other supermarkets. And then I was never nervous standing on the stage and talking to everybody. And yesterday I had my first space as a co-host, and there were like 20 people, and I was freaking nervous as hell. So that was a new experience for me. But I also got a lot of training to cope with when I'm nervous. So I would love to share that with you guys. What works for me is meditate a bit before starting something big. Do something with the breathing. I don't know the English word exactly for it, but I got a lot of exercises where I control my own inhale and exhale of my breathing, and that works awesome. So to get rid of that nervous feeling and just jump into the deep, meditation is a real good one for me, and helped me as well yesterday during the space. I actually did it during the space with the breathing stuff, and it calmed me down a bit, and I just had a great time after that.
Absolutely. If I can complement this, because this is something that maybe people that are new to spaces don't know, but it might happen, like it happens on my case, that you still get nervous after hosting several spaces. Right now, I'm actually a little bit nervous. It's impossible to get, for me, it's like impossible to be like completely confident and without any sort of nervous around hosting a space and speaking in spaces. And I can confirm that focus on breathing really, really works.
Right there with you guys, right there with you. And I think this is an interesting topic to dig into for a little bit here, is the idea of performance anxiety and what causes that and what you can do about it. And before we do, because I have certainly have a lot of thoughts to it, I just want to give a shout out to the Wildcat Alliance. We are being rated in our comment section. I think this is another big milestone there, Quantic. I don't think we've been rated before, and I don't know about you, but it's pretty awesome. So much love to the Wildcat fam. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for supporting us, and just a pleasure here. So a moment ago we were talking about anxiety and speaking on spaces. And there's a couple of interesting things when it comes to this. I've definitely put a lot of thought into this, and I think there's a couple of routes. I mean, it's going to be definitely quite different for each person, but for me, a couple of reasons why I have anxiety, and I know for sure that I do, is I have a fear of judgment. I have a lot of the times I have ridiculous standards that I do set for myself that honestly are unreachable, or I do already reach them, but it's hard for me to see that for some reason. But then also I still very much struggle with imposter syndrome, and I love that you guys brought up breathing, because I think from a physiological standpoint, breathing. So, okay, I'm going to take a quick step back here and just dive into kind of what exactly is happening in our body. So when we are in a threatening situation, like for example, I feel threatened that I'm going to be judged by my peers, or I feel threatened that I'm going to say something that is going to completely mess up my image, that's going to completely ruin my reputation, and it's going to end up with losing all of you amazing people, and all of a sudden I won't be able to do spaces anymore. My body perceives that as a legitimate threat, and it responds through the fight or flight reaction. And when this happens, adrenaline spikes because it basically gets you ready. It prepares your body physically to run away from a threat. And that's where the anxiety comes in. And this is all triggered by a cascade that happens in your body. And it's basically we have the fight or flight side of kind of our physiological breakdown, but then we also have the opposite, which is the rest and digest side. And by taking those deep breaths, by actually stopping and being focused on the moment, by breathing in deeply, that directly stimulates the rest and digest side of things. So by taking those deep breaths, you are calming yourself, you are lowering that anxiety, and very, very soon thereafter, you're able to see the world for what it is. Like, if I mess up, that's okay. I trust that all of you guys, you know that I'm human and it's okay to make mistakes. And honestly, whenever I see people who I admire speaking in spaces and they mess up, that makes me love them even more because they're human. They're just like me. And I love that. So without going too much deeper, I see a bunch of hands here. I see we've got a bunch of new faces. I cannot wait to get to all of you guys. So let's do that. So Quantic, I'm not sure if you noticed, was it Red Kev or Ms. Digi that showed up here first? Did you notice?
I think that it was first Red Kev and then Mrs. Digi, but I want them to confirm.
Oh, it was totally Miss Digi.
Miss Digi. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm about to pass you the mic, but I just want to thank both of you guys for being here. What a pleasure. I have definitely interacted with both of you guys before, and you're absolutely awesome. Red Kev, it's about time that we get to connect like this and have a conversation as well. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with you as well. But Ms. Digi, thank you so much for being here, and the mic is yours.
Hi, thank you so much for having me up. I just had a question, and actually, before I get into my question, I do want to say that I've really enjoyed listening to the space. Didn't come in at the beginning, but really lovely space, lots of value given. I was thinking about when it comes to spaces, and I'm really just looking for an opinion here. Do y'all think that hosting a space has to be done in a completely consistent manner? And what I mean by that is, do y'all think that it would be okay to actually run a space kind of like a pop-up, where you do show up throughout the week, but not necessarily the same times or the same days? I've been thinking about this for hosting my own space, and I just wanted to get kind of some feedback. So anyway, thank you for letting me ask.
And thank you for asking such a thoughtful question. To be honest, as far as we've started, Quantic, we've been very consistent with only one additional space that we kind of popped up at the last minute. But I am sure, Mary Beth, that you have some awesome insights to this, and I'd love to hear your perspective. And I see your hand up, so perfect. I'm going to pass the mic to you to answer that question.
Sure thing. Hey, Miss Digi. So my straight answer quickly is no, there's nothing wrong with that. Even though I'm the one who's been talking about, hey, I did my spaces twice a week or once a week at the same time every week. First of all, you can do whatever you want, right? And I think, like, I know a couple of people who do pop-ups. Maybe they do it every day. Maybe they do it 4 times a week, generally within the same 5-hour window, you know, like in the afternoon at some point. But some people just do it to network. Some people just do it to, like, hey, I just wanted to see who would come through, anyone who was willing to pop in their head, introduce themselves. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You might find that in these random times you do the spaces, maybe you'll learn, like, hey, who's available to come in more? You might get unsolicited feedback about, like, hey, this is a great time for me. So that might be a reason why sometimes people who do impromptu spaces eventually lead to having some kind of consistent time. But short answer is, like, no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
And I was hoping that's what the answer would be. And that kind of brings us back to what Sansa was saying as well, is that, yeah, trial and error is a magical thing. And not everyone has to do spaces or run spaces in the same way. And yeah, I think there's some beauty in trying to find something that is new and giving it a shot and seeing how it goes and sticking with it for as long enough to really get some good, hard data to see, you know, how it is working for you. And if you keep that open mind and try and remain aware of, or just, I guess what I'm trying to say is try to keep that mindset of just constant evaluation, then yeah, I think you'd be able to make something pretty magical with that idea. And I think that's definitely worth a shot. Quantic, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it all depends on the goals, right? Like I believe that if you want to build an audience around a topic or something, probably doing this in a periodic way in which people know what they are going to find and everything is fine. But you know, if you want to start, just do it. You know, whenever you feel like it, and you can do it for networking. Like Mary Beth said, I actually practiced that the past year, and it worked. Like I just connected and DM people like, do you want to talk with me in the spaces? And yeah, it were a couple of amazing spaces, and that's how I learned to, you know, a break to learn how to host spaces, basically.
And I think that's a really good point as well, is that if you keep that open mind, any experience will be profitable in the sense that even if the space fails miserably and it doesn't go anywhere and there's nobody interested, you've grown as a person and you've learned a very important lesson in what doesn't work. And I think it's important as a society that we try and keep that perspective, because there is so much value looking at failure as a positive, because truly in many ways it really is. It's just so empowering and just makes the journey so much more rewarding. So yeah, wonderful question, Ms. Digi. I just want to give you the mic back to if you have any responses to what we were saying or any kind of follow-ups to that, and just kind of give you the opportunity to have a say. And if not, that's cool too. Why don't you just, if you do want to contribute back, just raise your hand. And in the meantime, I am very excited to have a conversation with you right now, Red Kev. My man, thank you so much for being here with us today. And the mic is yours.
Thank you, Trav. A pleasure to be here. And Quantic, by the way, you hit the nail on the head with that take. It's all about your goals. If you want a bigger room, you probably should be consistently have a time people will know to come to you. They know it's this time, it's this day. But if you just want to chill and have some vibes and your friends are free, just open a space. Those are some of my favorite spaces. I love these spaces. Get a bunch of smart people together, talk through some topics. But I also love those chill spaces. You know, it's like late at night. You're all just kind of vibing from the day, and you're just kind of shooting the shit. So yeah, no, I thought that was really great take on that one, Quantic. Though it's all about your goals. You find your right times. I'm sorry I missed Sansa. I'm actually on my lunch break, so I don't usually get to come to these, unfortunately, with my schedule, but really happy to be here. Really glad it worked out today.
What, Red Kev, the fact that you're here on your lunch break, my man, wow, that time is valuable. That time is precious. And so just the fact that you're here hanging out with us on that just such sacred time means so much, man. Honestly, I appreciate you. We've gotten to know each other over in the space here. I don't even know. It's been a couple of months now, and it's just been an absolute pleasure. So I definitely recommend everyone check out Red Kev. He's a legend. He's awesome. He's putting on amazing spaces all the time, and it certainly is worth digging into what he does, because he will make you a better person. And you actually, you know what? You brought up a very interesting topic that I did want to bring up, and I'm not going to get into it right away because I also want to send the mic over to you, Aslan. I'll also just amazing name, Narnia represent here, and that is the thought of why do people come to spaces? And I know there's tons of reasons, but I think it could be valuable talking about that real quick, because maybe it will spark some sort of inspiration to you, who the audience here that we have with us. If anyone's looking for some inspiration on a reason to start a space, maybe that will spark something for you. Maybe it'll spark something for me. Maybe I don't know. Well, let's find out. But before we jump down that, Aslan, I'm going to pass you the mic. Welcome, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, and maybe I could even help segue you into that, because I mean, as you may know, as you do know, we're space raiders. So this is what we do: is we go into space to space. We're on an average of 180 spaces a month, right? Because we do 6 spaces a day. So we go through this. We're in group chats. We're a very strong community. And we basically talk in the backgrounds of, what's going on in spaces and how bored we are sometimes and this and that. But, it's part of our approach and it's our marketing. So we're in there doing the thing. But at the same time, we're doing so many other things, right? Like boosting algorithms and stuff. But that's not the point. That's not why I came up here. Like the cats do the thing themselves, right? Everyone in my community is awesome. These are organic people. But like I said, we've had a lot of feedback from these spaces. And, I'm going to lead with why I came up here from the beginning, and I might be able to just segue right into, your new topic of why did we come here, right? The first thing that brought me up here was, you were talking about getting nervous speaking, and I still do. Like it's natural. I had a fear of public speaking before I did this, and now I could come up into any space. I don't care. But, no matter what, I started as an athlete. in wrestling, and I wrestled all the way to the world level. And no matter what, anytime I stepped out on that mat, I had anxiety. And that's just always going to happen. And it's going to happen until you do something like 10,000 times. And me wrestling 1,000 matches wasn't enough, right? But what happens is your brain does something repetitively until it stores it as a second nature. So at some point, if you keep on grinding, like, you guys will be great and come up, it'll be nothing. But until then, like, that anxiety is just part of the process. But yeah, and then I heard someone talk about these spaces, these random spaces. If you have a strategy and you're a master of engagement, that will work. Like, for instance, Andrew Tate can do it right now because he has a strategy, he has a funnel, he can catch lightning in a bottle instantly. He has a Discord, for instance, where he says, hey, I'm about ready to go on. If you treated it like maybe an alert type of thing, like if you target market around something like this, like, hey, this is going to be breaking news type of thing, and then you built a whole entire Discord on it, then it would work. Like, I would never like to say, like, hey, go out there and do it and try it. But if I do think it's something that would be a challenge without knowing the proper way to do it, I would never send anyone out there swimming in the open sea, because that's what'll happen is you'll start your space and it'll be just you. So, if you do everything right, like, you have your group chats. Like, when I came in here, a lot of the people that I GM in the morning are in here because I built these group chats, right? And I built these GM group chats. And what I did was I call it GM in space alpha, right? So now I'm building my engagement on my GM. Someone GMs me, I GM them back, and then I click on their profile and I find their GM and I create this thing where people engage. And now when I post a space into these engagement groups, they'll come here. That's what happens. And I've taught my cats to do the same thing. Like, my cats get points. They're getting paid, for doing this, but they get points for creating their own group chats, because then that creates more engagement. So there is a secret to it. But what's the point of having all this engagement and stuff if you get everybody here and they're here just because, like, we're telling them to be here? Like, really, there needs to be, like, why are we here? Here's the segue, right? Like, I know for me, like, everyone has their own thing, but most likely people are on Twitter because they have goals in Web3. So they're coming here in order to fulfill their goals because they think by being in these spaces, it's gonna give them that what I would call mat time, right? Time on the mat, getting better. But ultimately, like, it's all about whoever practices the smartest wins, right? So, we've been going into these degen spaces, literally getting dumber. So now what I like to push, like, you guys aren't doing that. So we're here right now. We'll probably, support you more. But what I want is education. I know people are trying to find, generational wealth, and they're trying to build, like, out of other countries and in order to, reach this dream. And they're coming into these spaces, and then, some of them aren't as educated as others, and we're leading them in the wrong direction. Like, I'll tell you what, that there's the red check mark I'm not the biggest fan of, because I know he's not educating people properly. And this is where I'm big at. Like, I think that you guys need to be educated, not you guys, but in general, these spaces need some sort of education. The consistency is good so that we could come and make it like a life routine. Like, if like every morning at 6 a.m. I go to Yonda's space, right? She's everything metaverse, and she talks about AI and really good stuff. It's just good for my brain, and I like that type of stuff. So that's why I come here, and I know that my community does the same thing. And the only reason why they're really tight right now is not just for money. It's because they're getting super educated. We own we're part of a security DAO as well. So, these people are getting points for having wallet guard and stuff, So, it's all about education. Education. Make it kind of fun, not too long, Like, I like Sansa. That's why we came in here. He's one of our dudes that we go to every day. He is educated. Educating. That's my take, and I'll stay quiet until I have more value. But yeah, it was a pleasure coming up. You guys are doing a great job. You're educating. Not that you're educating. You're trying to figure out how to do this the right way, and you're asking for feedback, and you're not trying to manipulate people.
Brother, man, thank you. Thank you so much for that awesome feedback, and thank you for spending the time here with us today. And even more importantly, man, thank you for lending your perspective. I mean, this is what you do. You go to spaces And this, I mean, the proof again is kind of in the pudding. I hate to use the same saying twice here, but I'm going to, is that like this is a very valid reason on why people come to spaces. And that makes a ton of sense, man. So yeah, I mean, for Quantic and I, right from the get-go, that was a huge reason why we wanted to start a space. Is if we're going to try and uplift the people around us, how are we going to do that? And providing value through knowledge and wisdom and experience. So yeah, excellent topic, my friend. And thank you again so much for being here, for viewing us as worthy of your support means a lot. Right, Kev, I see your hand up, but I just want to quickly check in with you, Quantic. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing, man. I think that we are, having a dream space today. So thank you everyone for joining and for sharing your experience. Thank you, Aston. You did, you gave me a lot of food for thought, like they say. And I'm going to check out with you later on, because I think that one of the ideas that you are working on about rating these spaces, it might be one possible way. You're doing promotion as well, right? To your brand towards this way, but you're also providing value. So that is something that is very valuable to me. So yeah, let's catch up later on. And yeah, man, I just want to thank everyone, and let's give the microphone back to Red Kev.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, and great take, Aslan. Love that take. One thing that you said that really resonated with me personally was the reps. You mentioned, wrestling and getting the reps in. I think a lot of Twitter space hosts, a lot of people that speak on spaces, maybe they have past experience. Like for me personally, I've worked in call centers for a while. I've had a lot of sales jobs. I have a sales marketing background. So I've talked to people for a while. I've learned how to, make your voice a little different, add some inflection in there. So, you learn these little tips and tricks, at least for me, for sales. So I think a lot of these space hosts, we all still get nervous and there's still some anxiety. You get more and more comfortable based off of your previous experience too. So I think if you've never had those type of jobs, you haven't been in sales or customer service, don't beat yourself up. If you're hearing a Twitter space host and they sound really good, most likely they had previous experience before Web3. And then you know what? They started doing spaces. They started getting those reps in. I mean, I've done spaces with 3 people in the room, and they're so fun because if you have a good conversation, you have a good conversation. Doesn't matter if it's 3 or 300 people. And then you just build it up from there. So yeah, just on the topic of anxiety before spaces, I think a lot of us get it. And, before you talk, and drink some water. That helps me a lot. I'm always drinking water in spaces, obviously, to keep talking. You gotta have the vocal cords warmed up, but drink water too. It kind of helps. It's a nice little break. Refocus yourself, get your point out, drink some more water. That's something I like to do. It's kind of helped me, but yeah, I think that's very natural, but really great point on the reps. That is a very, very important part of these spaces. And to answer your question about why, join spaces, get back to that topic, 90% of the time is to support my homies. I go in rooms that my homies are in. Trav, Quantic, I've known you guys for a while now. The opportunity was right. Got on my lunch break, was like, oh, Trav's having a space, let me get in there. That's 90% of why I joined spaces. The other 10%, sometimes there's big names, big topics. Sometimes it's drama. I know. Sometimes it's drama. Sometimes it's fun to listen to. But that's pretty much why I joined spaces, just because I know the people hosting, I know the people speaking, and I want to support them somehow. So if I can speak, if I can listen, whatever works, that's pretty much why I'm joining spaces.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm so happy that you guys did bring up that point, because we almost lost it. We almost skimmed right by it, and we didn't get to that. Is the only way to overcome that anxiety is to just get up and do it. So one interesting thing here, and this links back to another reason why it's worth getting into speaking on spaces, is it's an interesting loop. So basically, this all is going to kind of revolve around the idea of confidence. And I'm going to link this to a personal story, kind of my own personal experience, to really try and bring this to life. Is that before I got into spaces, kind of to add on to my previous story of being in healthcare and being in the trauma bay, I've been off work for a couple of years now, and that's because I've got hit real hard with PTSD. And from that, my confidence basically shot the bed. I completely lost confidence in myself. I lost my identity. I had no more purpose because I wasn't going to get back to doing the work that I loved for so long. And that was a huge part of how I identified or how I viewed myself. And my job was so interconnected into my identity that as soon as I lost that, I became just lost as a person. And with that went my confidence. And I tweeted about this yesterday. I just hit 2,700 followers yesterday, and I wrote a tweet about it. And it was just to express my gratitude to all of you guys for literally bringing me back to life. And the reason why this is true and not an exaggeration is because it was through spaces, through confronting my fears of performance anxiety, through confronting my fears of getting out there and being social. It was through confronting those fears that I found my confidence again. So it's scientifically proven that by continually confronting your fears and continuing to, even if it doesn't go well, to get back up and to face it again the next day, you will overcome them. And not only that, but the more you do it, the more that will bring you confidence in yourself. There is nothing more in this world that requires so much bravery as facing your fears head on. So you'll find that as soon as you start doing this process of confronting your fears, each and every time you'll get a little bit further, and each and every time you'll gain a little bit more confidence from it as well. So for me, that took the form of hosting spaces. And let me tell you, within the last couple of weeks, I've definitely refound myself. I've definitely reconnected with myself. I'm a whole different person, 100% than I was a couple of years ago, even a year ago. I don't even recognize that person who I was. And man, I am just so beyond grateful for this experience. I'm getting a little bit of emotion here. And you know what? That's okay, because it's important that you guys know how important this is to me and how much this truly has changed and improved and enhanced my life. So anyone who's in a similar situation, just know that, yeah, it's scary, but at the end of the day, at the end of that tunnel, there's so much reward. So I hope this helps somebody out there. But yeah, we've got a couple other hands here. Mikey, my man, my brother, so awesome to have you here, my friend. I'm going to send the mic over to you. Welcome. What do you got, man?
Yo, what's going on, Trav? Red Cap, yo, oh my goodness, so many legends over here. Mary Beth, yo, oh man, Bruce, yo, what's going on? Loving the space, man. Trav, you're killing it, man. I just want to, come here, give you the flowers, and also, what's going on with the spaces. I've been hosting my spaces also every Monday, and kind of like one of the questions earlier. Like pop-up questions. I definitely agree with that too. Like I'll be doing, ultimately it's just a test. We're just testing it out. Testing the water, see how it is. When do we get more engagement and all this. And also, I've had depression before. And on my spaces, I do this breathing exercises. Some breathing exercises that helped me before. So just taking that opportunity that I have people in the space to do it together, because really, who really does it, everybody be busy and all that, but so, I just take that opportunity to have in the space, to do those breathing exercises all together, because again, I've been in the depression too, sometimes we feel alone and all that. So for that reason, again, too, so you won't be alone. We're all doing it together, so you won't feel like that, and then, it's worked out and all that. So I definitely, invite, extend an invitation to everybody. More than welcome. It is on open stage, it's just, I do a little bit of shilling at the end, like projects that I like to talk about, it's always not financial best, and all that. But yeah, man, you're killing it, Trav. And just want to, again, just say what's up and all this. And also Red Cap, we've all been interacting, back and forward. I don't think we've ever heard each other before, so let's go.
Brother, man, thank you so much for being here and for your kind words, but then also for sharing your story, man, and being okay with being a bit vulnerable. I know you're in a lot of other spaces that we've connected in, man. You're a force to be reckoned with, man. You bring an energy that is unmatched, that is just so completely you and unique. So just the fact that you were able to kind of take that moment and be a real person and to connect like that, man, means a ton. So, man, I want to invite you. If you've got a link to your space, please feel free to link it up here on the Jumbotron. I love what you do, man. Anyone who's open and trying to create awareness about mental health, I will support through and through. So, my friend, please take a link, throw her up top. I invite everyone to check Mikey out. He's a legend, and will support you. If you make good with Mikey, he will be at your back until the end of days. So, brother, thank you again for so much for being here. And just an honor
I
here.
appreciate it, my man. Yeah, I don't have a link yet, because it's only Thursday. I do it on Mondays. I do have the link to the space already. I could shoot you the DM or when I tweet it out, to share it with you guys and all this. Like again, I don't really show my spaces or nothing. I just extend that invitation for who of those just would like to join. Just we get in the DMs and all this. I know about the like and retweet and all this. I know what it's like, so that when the time comes, I'll hit you up. But yeah, appreciate it, my man.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. That's fantastic. Beauty. So, Quantic, I want to touch base with you real quick. We've got two other hands here. I'm very excited to speak with both you guys here. But Quantic, I think we're starting to near the end of our time slot here, and I just wanted to kind of reset the room and hand the mic back over to you here real quick and check in. How's it been, man? How are you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks, Trav, and thanks, Mike, for joining and sharing and show your support to the amazing Travis. We all love him, and yeah, it has been an amazing experience today. But let's give room to two wonderful people that are also joining. I think for the first time, Georgina and CJ. I think that's in correct order. So let's go. Let's hand the mic to you guys.
Hi guys.
Beauty, and then I just sorry. You know what? Mike is yours. Mike is yours. It's please.
Thank you first of all for letting me on the stage. It was such a pleasure to hear you so far, and I am here due to Chill Pill, so big shout out to him, because in this way I found out about this amazing space. And I would like to address a bit the anxiety part of going on the stage and talk. So I'm going to say real quick a little story about me in high school when I went to this public speaking contest. It was in English. English is not my native language. So I had this speech super prepared. I knew what to do. I knew what to say. I was super confident. And then, bam, you're in the front of the people and you start talking. Your mouth starts saying the words, right? And then your thoughts just hit you and they say, oh my God, no, this is not cool. This is not right. You have to not say this. So I started crying like super, super hard. And I couldn't finish anyways the talk. So yeah, I just remained with this regret. So kind of this was what happened to me at first when I first discovered Twitter Spaces. I said, okay, I have this bad memory or trauma. I have to go on, and exactly as you said, Trav, you have to do it in order to overpass it, to overcome it. And some of my tips, let's say like this. Sorry, I still have sometimes shaky voice. I still have, and I think as Aslan said, you still will have emotions each time you are doing this kind of things, right? So some of my tips and tricks in order to try to stay afloat is to try to keep in mind the key points that you want to put in. And also, my very personal tips and tricks is to not look while you are speaking in the audience. Like for me, it works because for me, like it's super anxious to just scroll, see all these amazing people over there hearing me, and like to freeze, to rag. I don't want to do that because each of us has something to say. Each of us has something to spread away and also to receive, to learn, exactly as we are learning here today from all of you. So I guess that would be my take on anxiety Twitter Spaces, and I believe this Twitter Spaces feature for all of us, it's something really that we couldn't achieve maybe in another social media thing or so on, especially on this Web3 related stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for letting me here talking, yes, and for all the inspiration so far.
Hey, absolute pleasure, Georgina. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Man, that is a significant trauma. My goodness, to just go up on stage and just to break down publicly like that. That's a very difficult position for a human to be. Just to be, that is about as vulnerable as you can get. In a complete public situation where you're just surrounded by strangers likely. So I just want to say, massive congratulations to you for having that bravery, having that courage, and overcoming that. You nailed that. You absolutely nailed that. So look how far you've come. So yeah, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you telling your story, and I know that there are going to be people here who are inspired by that, and you made a difference by sharing that with us today. So thank you so much. All right. Sorry, Georgina.
Sorry,
Again.
I just wanted to say something super quick. Is that for everyone that wants to improve with his or her public speaking skills, Twitter Spaces is the place. So thank you very much once again.
Absolutely, Georgina. And I think that's a really important point too, is yes, while Twitter Spaces is certainly anxiety inducing, you can also do it from the comfort of your own home, which is a very powerful concept. Nowhere else in the world, in any kind of real life circumstances, well, for the most part anyways, can you face your fears of public speaking in a non-public environment. So just as an interesting way to view it, kind of one thing that I actually rely on every once in a while is, if I feel like I'm losing it, if I feel like I'm just letting the anxiety take the better of me, sit back, look where you are. You're in your home. You're super comfortable. I'm sitting on a really comfy chair. My dog's coming right now because she hears my voice talking super loud, and that's gonna bring me comfort. So yeah, that's an awesome point, and I thank you so much for sharing it. So yeah, last but not least, we've got CJ. CJ, you have been here with us before, and you actually, you know what? You were the last speaker that we had in the spaces that you did join. And I'm trying to remember, was it the mental health one? I think it was. So, my man, I just want to thank you so much again for being here with us, and excited to connect with you.
Hello, Trav. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
GM, everyone. It's so good to be on this space. Wow. Okay. Normally, I have this tradition, I have this, should I call it a coping mechanism, that I always confess my anxiety. I confess it first before I start speaking, but I guess that is getting old because I'm getting used to speaking on spaces. It's not as bad as it used to be, because I used to have social anxiety, not just on spaces, in meeting people physically. So, but through practice, as everyone has said, yeah, I got better. So before, even to request the mic was a challenge. To turn on the mic was a challenge. So first and first, I just wanted to give this, should I say, tip. Confess it, you get. Just be real. Just tell the people you're talking to that, oh, you guys should, understand my situation. I'm having anxiety, but regardless of that, I'll try to communicate whatever I have that I think is of value to you, rather than letting that particular anxiety keep me mute. So that's that. Because no matter, I think from what Aslan said, he said like he's been wrestling and over, but the anxiety never went away. I guess it's just like that. But what went away was the fear that was holding you back. So no matter, even if the anxiety doesn't go away, that fear is gone. In the sense, you're not afraid to take that step anymore. It's more easier. So That's really what it's about. You get just take the step so that regardless of the anxiety, you'll be able to do. So look at me. Like I started speaking on spaces last year. I was like ending December. I wasn't as good like it was. I sucked at it. My thoughts just compromised my tongue. I don't know which is even faster, if it's my head or my tongue, but I know they weren't syncing together. So with that, yeah, because our abilities to speak is an amazing thing. We are the only creatures known that can speak, that can use a language like this. So it's to me, it's spiritual. You get it's very powerful, and just because we are used to it doesn't mean we should take it for granted. Voice must be heard. Brings out who you really are. So you should appreciate it and always don't never let that fear make you sit back. Always take that first step. So that's what I wanted to add. And also for spaces, the reason I attend spaces, honestly, like also I agree with Aslan. He said it's for the education, not just the education, because you can learn from books, you can learn from podcasts and everything. But the thing I love about spaces is you get to learn from people's personal experience in real time when they tell you about their experience. That's the most unique thing about spaces. You get to learn from personal experience, not what they've written down, not what you can find in the video or what else. Like someone communicating with you like a friend in front of you. So that's beautiful. That's what I really love about spaces. And I use them to network, rub mind with other people to learn things I don't know. Was it 3 days ago I got to learn that there were blue bananas and square watermelons? It was so incredible to me. But you see, I got to learn that from a space. So that's really cool. And if you hear and you're having anxiety, and no one is, I think it only comes from the fear of judgments from other people. You get, so they don't let other nobody, as far as a safe space like this, we encourage you. Nobody's going to curse you down or say you are not speaking well, whatever. Just take the mic whenever you can and express yourself. You get better at it. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you, Trav, and thank you everyone that attends the space. You guys are awesome, honestly.
CJ, my man, you've left shivers down my spine. I love that. Don't take speaking for granted. It not only is it what makes us human, but the power of it is unfathomable. So, man, just thank you for being here. Such a solid take, and I like that other reason that you bring as to why people come to spaces in the first place, and that's to network. You're going to connect with people in a way that is so much more profound than writing a message on a timeline ever will be. So I'm so happy that you brought that point up, because that's another absolutely solid reason why people come to spaces, and that's to network. So yeah, man, always welcome in our spaces. Just always a pleasure to hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for being here, brother. Perfect here. So Bruce, I see your hand up. I just want to send the mic over to you, Quantic, real quick here. And yeah, we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, CJ, for joining and sharing your point of view. We really appreciate that. And just to kind of wrap it out, the space, of course, let's hear from the great Bruce first. And then I would like, if possible, that Mary Beth kind of gave us some advices for some people here in our audience that want to, start doing spaces, or how to improve if they are already doing, like us. And yeah, that would be all on my side. So let's hear it, Bruce.
Hey, Quan. Hey, Trav. Real quick, can you guys hear me okay? I have only one headphone in. The other one just went out of nowhere. So just want to make sure everybody can hear me before I go with my one headphone here. Okay, looks like we're getting a lot of hundreds. Okay, cool. So real quick, well, I guess not real quick, because there were so many people in front of me that talked about a lot of different topics relating to hosting spaces or talking in spaces or why they like to go to spaces. And I have so many different thoughts right now, so I guess I'll just start at the top. First off, I met Trav and Quant 12 weeks ago, and I luckily just stumbled into their space. Somebody's got a hot mic on. Oh, that's Guzman.
There we go. Problem solved.
It's all good. So anyway, it's all good. No worries. So yeah, when sounds like Guzman's at Taco Bell or McDonald's right now. He's about to order.
There we go. We're good.
No worries, Trav. So when I stumbled into Trav and Quant's space 12 weeks ago, I was in the, in the audience listening, and I had never spoken on the spaces before 12 weeks ago. I had just started my account like maybe a few weeks before. And long story short, my dad and I are building a project together. He's the artist, I'm the founder. And I was really curious about their topic that they had brought up that week. And it was, I believe it was how to grow your account, or no, it was actually about promotion and marketing. It was what route should you go with promotion and marketing? And me being a new account with a less than like 300 followers, I was interested to hear all the different takes in the speaker panel and just in general. I just sat there for about an hour, hour and a half, didn't say a word. And then finally, I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I'm going to raise my hand, or I'm going to request to speak, and I'm going to ask Trav and Quant, like after I tell them like a little short synopsis of my story, how I got to where I was at that point, I want to see what they have to say. And after I spoke up and told them like what my situation was and how I was attack marketing aspect for my project, they were exactly what everyone has said before me today. They were nothing but positive. They were in a safe space. Nobody was judging you about whether you had a ton of experience or a little bit of experience. And it was just I had such a good experience, just not only getting all their feedback, but I made so many connections in this space. Because right now I'm looking down and I see the Open Chain, Simulations, Cyber Genie was in here earlier, Red Kev was in here. I mean, there's so many people. Mibby's in here. Mibby, excuse me. Sorry, I pronounced it wrong, Mibby. So many different people that I have gotten to know pretty damn well the past couple months. And I actually have found that when I go to Spaces calls, I get like rushes of people, like 3 to 10 at a time, that either follow me or come into my Discord for my project. And I feel like Spaces calls are the best medium for you to get your name out there, your brand out there, and connect with people. Whether you're building a content platform like Trav and Quant, or whether you're building an actual NFT project like me, or whether you just want to grow your network in general for whatever reason in the Web3 space. I think it's undoubtedly the king of building your brand is being in Spaces calls and actually talking and letting people hear your thoughts and whatever it is you're working on. So that all relates to my question for Trav and Quant. So I've been in a ton of Spaces calls. I have no issue talking in front of people. But I want to start just like a once a week for the people that are really passionate about my project, Creepy Creatures. And I guess the hardest question that I have, or the hardest part of the question, is picking a date and time that works best for my whole community, or the community that's building. And then also, like, I actually did a dual Spaces with Angels and Demons, and then also with NFT Otter in the past month. And I guess I didn't feel the same pressure because I was a co-host, but since I'm going to be the main host probably in the next couple of weeks starting to do my own space, what advice would you give for me as a host of my own space? Even though I don't care if it's 2 people, 20 people, 200 people, I don't get anxiety when I'm talking. Like right now, I'm totally normal. I feel fine. But I have a feeling I'm going to get a little nervous just because it's my first time doing it. And I guess the logical person in my brain would say, just approach it like you're approaching it right now. But I know that when I'm in the moment, it's probably going to feel a little different because I'm actually hosting the space for the first time myself. So since Trav and Quant have a ton of experience doing this, I would like to ask them. And then if anybody else wants to chime in and give me any little pointers or thoughts, that would be great.
Absolutely, Bruce. Thanks so much for sharing. So from my side, what I can tell you is that focus 100% on the people that you want to connect with within your community already. So you probably have some supporters already. I'm a supporter, by the way, so happy to join as well. But the people that are really, really connected with the project and are always there on the Discord, ask them what is best for them to join, to listen to you and to connect, to have a chat, and try to work it from there. And I think that is something that I would like to have known before I started to do in my spaces, because I had this issue also with my project. Fortunately, I had support from other people that were coming, but I never did that, like focus really on building a strong relationship with the first supporters that I have, and that is something that I greatly, I repent about that. So yeah, that would be my advice. I think that Beth, for sure, Mary Beth and Trav for sure have some nice insight as well.
Beauty, yes. Happy to contribute to this conversation here. So I think the most important thing that I can tell you is that it will hit you. The anxiety will hit you. And if you can anticipate it, that will make it much easier to accept it and then overcome it. So fully expect it. And you know what? If it doesn't show up, then awesome, you're good. And just know that the likelihood that it will happen is very, very high. And the one thing I want to just plant in your brain here to just keep in your mind as kind of like a focal point as this is happening is that it will pass. Now, when it comes to another physiology of the things, a really powerful piece of information that I found was that these reactions typically last 90 seconds. So if you can keep yourself grounded and you can keep yourself centered for 90 seconds and basically ride the wave, it will pass. So breathing is a really helpful way to mitigate that. Acceptance is a really helpful way, and just be prepared for during that moment. Obviously, speaking is going to be a heck of a lot more difficult. Keeping your train of thoughts could be more difficult. Your memory is gonna suffer. So prepare for that. Write. Maybe even if you want to write down what you want to say during those 90 seconds, whether it's an introduction, whether it's a specific talking point, whether it's something, just have that on standby, and that will hopefully, even if you don't end up using it, it will just give you that peace of mind to know that it's there if you need it and that you're prepared. So this is definitely something that has helped me along my journey, and hopefully it'll help out with yours. If anyone else has any takes, or Bruce, I'm happy to give you the mic back as well to respond. But I'm just gonna leave the floor open here to anyone who wants to jump in.
I'll just go ahead and quickly chime in, and I know you guys are closing out. Tips just for moving forward, whether if you're doing your own space, and this is in general for your closing question, is when you open a space, I would just honestly, I would start with listening to spaces for 5 days straight. That's it. Just do nothing but listen. Find just up to 3 to 4 people that you might reach out to help support you when you open your first space. Maybe you see them a lot in spaces. Maybe there's someone you already communicate with in the back channels. And if you can just find a few people and you're really open with them and saying like, hey, I'm starting up my own space next Tuesday at blah, blah, blah p.m. I'm just trying it out. Was wondering if you could be there to support. We'll be talking about blank. That's it, right? And then when you do have that, you open that space and you get the anxiety, even the first minute, one simple thing you can just say is like, hey, thank you so much everyone for coming. My name is blank, and I'm opening this space to get to know my community better and also get some tips on blank. And sometimes, and this is kind of a trick I've done, sometimes I've done spaces to help me answer a question that I have. It's not always about me teaching something. And it gets really fun and engaging when people in your community or people from the outside are able to come and engage and give their thoughts. People love to talk. They love to give their opinions. So if you're just straight up in the beginning and say like, hi, my name is Mary Beth. I'm here to, build community and also learn more tips about blank. You'd be so surprised about how many people want to contribute. And that's actually a great way to kind of relieve yourself from some pressure and then encourage you to ask more questions to entice more conversation. So my name is Mary Beth Salas, and I just wanted to thank Quantic and Trav for allowing me to be here. And it's been such a pleasure meeting everyone in the space.
Such a solid take. That's something I've never even considered before. Hosting a space to answer your own question. That's wonderful. Geez, yeah. No, honestly, Mary Beth, thank you so much for being here with us today. The amount of value and knowledge you've shared with us is honestly next level. Like it's very clear. Like let me just take one more step back here. I took a listen to one of your spaces yesterday. One of the first ones that I've listened to where you've hosted it. And I told this to you in DM, but I'll share it with everyone. was one of the smoothest spaces that I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. So the fact, just I'm saying that to add credibility to everything that you're saying. Definitely, if you are a budding host, please give her a follow. Like, it's like a lot of value can be shared from that wisdom here. So Bruce, I want to give you the mic back here, my friend. Just to kind of give you the opportunity to respond.
Yeah, thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Trav. Thank you, Quant, for the your own insight from your own experience with the Spaces calls. Like, honestly, since I'm a founder, I don't have the same. I mean, I guess it's similar in some sense of the way, but my space will be to just where my community has like a once a week where we can all gather and talk about the project and talk about what's coming next, what we've done, things in the future, blah, blah, blah. And, I guess this space is obviously it's a community in itself. Like, I've been here every single week with Trav and Quant, and I show up because not only are they great guys and I want to support them because I like them as human beings, but also they provide value. So it kind of checks off all the boxes. So I guess mine would be the same except for my project. So yeah, I mean, it'll be very similar, but I definitely don't want to have it during any time where any of my buddies are having their spaces. So I guess I need to look at the calendar and talk to Trav and Quant in the back channels and figure out when a good time would be for all of us to be there. But thank you everybody for the insights and your own perspectives on this, because it's going to help me a lot moving forward as I get closer and closer to launch. So thanks, guys. My name's Bruce, and if you like dope 100% hand-drawn art, my dad is the artist. Give me a follow, and I'm pretty sure your mind will be blown. But thanks, guys. I'll pass it back to Trav.
Awesome. Let's play some hot potato. And I'm gonna send it to Mike or to Quantic here. But real quick, I just want to send you some flowers, Bruce. Bruce has been one of our original community members here. Like you were saying before, the very first space that we had, you were right there, and you added a ton of value to it, my friend. So definitely, I will echo what you just said. Definitely give Bruce a follow. Just one of the sweetest guys here in this space, and definitely worth getting to know. So, without further ado, Quantic, I'm gonna give you the mic back here.
And I am just going to echo you and give a public shout out also to Bruce, an amazing person, an amazing founder. If you can, guys, please check out his project, and they're doing good stuff. They're real ones. So it's something that is so frustrating, right? I'm a project founder as well, and what we find is that if you don't have a super large following, and if you don't fall into the engaged farming game and promotions and everything, it's very difficult to sell NFTs these days. So it's kind of difficult for project funders that don't have like big support, maybe from VCs or from their large audience, to grow a project in an organic way. And usually these are the ones that are for real, right? For the community, that they are there every day. They are providing real value. And it's such a shame that, the only projects that we see shining are the ones that are for Degens. I don't have anything against that. I just think that we should also try to support other projects as well and other funders. And with that message, I don't know, Trav, if you want to say anything else, or maybe Marybeth. I just have words of gratitude to each one of you. Oh, and I see Mikey. Okay, let's do this, Mikey. I will give you the last few words to you, Mikey, CJ, and then we can close the space.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I just also I've Mary Beth, thank you for sharing all this, because I have been learning as well with my spaces. I'm testing out things too. I've done giveaways, and I have spaces when I don't have done no giveaways, and I've seen the differences. But my reason for the giveaways is because I like to give back. It's not to really get that people just incentivize, to be in the space. That's one, but just mainly to give back, But Bruce, I'm loving what you're telling me this. So another thing that I like to talk, mainly my space is I like to support. I'm here supporting Trav. I retweeted the space and all this. It's all really that it's simple as that. One like, one retweet, one reply. You don't have to do all three, but one of those three would help, and that's just the one of the easiest, cheapest ways to support others. And of course, giving a follow. But yeah, Bruce, definitely would like to invite you as well, to talk about what you're building. I like to connect with the builders, with the creators. You already know Trap. You already know if you're a creator here. You already know what I'm talking about. So yeah, man. I'm loving it, and I'm looking forward for the next space.
Mikey, my man, just like I'm saying, that just put to words how much of a support you are, not only to us, but everyone in this space. So keep up the awesome work, man. Definitely give Mikey just check him out. Check him out. I've listened to a bunch of your spaces now, and first of all, I was struck by just like there were tons of people there, Mikey. Holy crap! I don't know what you got. Actually, no, that's a lie. I know exactly what you've got going on. You're Mikey, and your vibe is so real. And I really enjoyed that breathing exercise that you had in the beginning of it as well. Just it's needed in this space. People need to take that time to just sit back and relax. So, my man, thank you for being you. Thank you for everything you're doing for the space. And yeah, just keep up the awesome work. So
also, real quick, just want to say about the taking notes that you said. Honestly, I don't take notes. I know I should, because I get off a topic sometimes, or I have the topic that I want to talk. Like just right now, I'm like thinking of what I'm gonna say before I say it, right? And I don't really do notes. It all just comes, from the heart, from experience and all this. But yeah, definitely, I gotta take notes, man.
Oh man, notes save me. My mind can get so scattered. It's so helpful to, just write things down here and there. So I'm happy that you're finding, or you're inspired to give it a shot here as well. Right on. So CJ, your hand's up. Let's give you the final word, my friend, and then we'll be wrapping this up, everyone. So Mike's yours.
Thanks, Trav. I just wanted to give you your flowers, as well as Mary Beth. I think she just left the space. But all the same, like I just got two very important facts that I'm holding close to my chest, which is you said the feeling only lasts for 90 seconds, and that's so true because whenever I just walk through the anxiety, I do what I want to do, regardless of how I'm feeling. After a while, it just fades away. Like right now, I can't feel anything. I'm just speaking my mind. So that's really valuable information to me. So that and also when Mary Beth started speaking, I was just jotting down everything she was saying because I'm about to start my own space. So I was just rapidly following her word for word, jotting down everything she was saying, and it was so awesome. Thank you, Trav. It's been a wonderful night. Night over here, though. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a very wonderful space. I'm very, very, very grateful. Thank you, Quanti, too. See you there, sending the love. So thanks, everyone.
Absolute pleasure, CJ. More than welcome anytime. I love your presence. So positive, so full of love, and so real. And you know what? That's it's the realness, I think, that really just makes me connect with you, man. So more than welcome anytime. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for sharing. And thanks everyone, all the speakers, everyone in the audience. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys taking all this time to hang out with us today. This has been a good one. This has been, I think we just continue to outdo ourselves, Quantic. What do you think, my friend? How was this one for you?
Yeah, we're flying high, we're improving every week. And I think that the reason is because we are trying to include people and, help them find their voice here in these spaces, because that's why Web3 matters, right? If you guys don't know about this, the reason why we started these spaces is to empower people. And we will continue to do so. So before closing this space, obviously, we wanted to thank everyone, our speakers, our guests, and everybody who joined it and tweet about it as well. And, we're going to be doing these spaces every Friday at 4:30 p.m. UTC. We are working on universal time coordinates so that everybody has to do their corresponding transformation. And we're very happy if you guys want to join, if you guys want to suggest a topic, if you want to suggest, a guest, we will do so because, like I said before, we are here to support you guys and to share with all of you and learn all of us together.
I couldn't say anywhere near as awesome as you just did. So yeah, everyone, just one final time, thank you guys. Thank you for making this what it is. Yeah, this is wonderful. I truly feel like our mission is it's coming true. Yeah, it's happening. I feel like, you know, we're growing in a tangible way, but also one in that's got a ton of quality. Yeah, just it's been so awesome connecting with all of you guys. I look forward to our future connections, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys again next week here. So on that note, thank you guys, and enjoy your upcoming weekend, and enjoy the rest of your day. Much love.
Much love. Take care, and see you everyone next week. Bye bye.